Welcome in on a Thursday. So nice to have you with us. Chilly but sunshiny day on a day where the first vaccines have been given, needle in shoulder in the Memphis area at Germantown Methodist and the VA. How about that? It's here.
Great
Help
news.
has begun. FedEx is going to help with the distribution of all the Moderna vaccines. There's the second one on the way. That certainly makes you feel a whole lot better.
FedEx is kind of the modern Santa Claus, aren't they?
Well, did you see their stock today too?
Yes, I did.
If you would like to give me that as a Christmas or last night of Hanukkah present, I would be very, very accepting of that. What a company for sure. That there is no question about that, and we need this because Dr. Threlkeld, who's been a frequent guest on this radio station, told WREG-TV today Tennessee is the worst in the world right now when it comes to coronavirus transmission. And I'll give you all the numbers on the cases in just a little bit. I want to start the show, and I hate
a medical doctor friend of mine in Little Rock. A lot of the Little Rock medical community, they got it yesterday, and 24 hours later, he says he's fine.
That's good because there are some that are having, really not very many. One that I know of in this country, a couple in the UK, that if you have a specific allergy and you take this shot, you could have a bad reaction. And so I certainly hope that is not the case. And at this point, it is minuscule, the people that have been affected by that. I want to start off with just my sympathies, my prayers, and my thoughts to the Chris Jarman family. I know Chris passed away, now it's a day and a half ago. I was not here yesterday to impart my senses. I am very sad about the loss of Chris Jarman. I knew Chris as basically an intern. He was probably about the age of Drew Barrett when I first met Chris, and he was hanging around Beale Street, and he got involved with WREC and Rock 103, and he really became a wonderful radio guy, and that's what he was. He was a radio guy, and the best article I've read in that particular regard. If you've got a chance, go read another former cohort who worked at WRC for years and worked around the building with Chris Jarman. We both got to know him at about the same time. Bill Dries has written a beautiful piece about Chris Jarman and about radio people, and so I urge you to go read that. Chris died at way too early an age. It is the second time that I have seen where this occurred, where there's been a bad fracture of a lower extremity, and that particular person who had the fracture ended up having a blood clot that ended up getting either in their brain or in their heart, and they died because of it. That is what took Chris Jarman. It also took an engineer of ours on the Tiger broadcast, a gentleman named Art Winsler many, many years ago. So you really have to be careful with these things. But Jarman was only 50 years old, and I never met a person that met him that did not like him. He was so kind to people. If you met him on the street and you wanted a selfie, he would accommodate you. He was just that kind of guy, never met a stranger, and it's the truth. Had a really wonderful little off-kilter sense of humor, but it related to everybody, and he knew Memphis, and he was from West Memphis, knew West Memphis really well, and knew the differences, and could appreciate both. He was a terrific young man, and died way too early, but our thoughts and prayers to his family. Chris Jarman passed at the age of 50.
For sure. Very sad.
Last night, the Tigers got a real boost, and it makes me wonder if they would have lost the 3 losses that they suffered had they had DeAndre Williams the whole way. Here's a guy that has an energy that is infectious. He came on, they built up a big lead, then he got in foul trouble. He goes
Quickly.
out, and they surrender that lead.
Quicker.
Boy, did that go quick. And they just have some problems at the point guard. There's no question about it. If it were me, just throwing this out loud, I would shorten my rotation. I would think about not starting Lomax and not starting Baugh at the point guard position, I would think about starting Lester Quinones because that would allow you to get even bigger. You start DeAndre Williams.
Got a high dribble.
You know what? You're not going to do any worse than what you're doing right now. He had 3 assists. I don't think he had that many turnovers last night. DJ Jeffries had the turnovers. He had 6 or 7 turnovers. DJ Jeffries did. I would at least give it a try. I think Lester Quinones has actually played the point on several rotations in this season. I think the Tigers operate at a much better way when he is out on the floor, and I think the numbers bear that out with offensive efficiency. I think he's the 3rd most efficient guy on the team. He clearly brings energy, just like DeAndre Williams. Having those two out there, I would only think on a starting basis would really create good synergy to begin the game. And then you can decide whether it's Baugh or Lomax that comes in after that. But I think that you have seen enough in these first 8 games where you're 5-3 to know this point guard stuff is not working the way it is. And keep in mind, people are saying, how could he have not, in his 3rd year, recruited to get a point guard? And I would remind them that they did. They had R.J. Hampton. He ended up not coming.
And Dave, I'm going to play a little bit of the anti that.
Okay.
I'm scared that if you commit to Quinones at point guard, with as high as his dribble can be, and he gets picked, he becomes a turnover machine, it doesn't work out, how that could affect the rest of his offense and maybe even dispirited him enough that it affects his defense. And his defense is always there. He packs it every night. Last night he packed the outside shot very well, but his defense has always been there. And it is one of the truisms, I think, of the sport. You can't make someone a point guard. You either are or you're not. And when you don't have one, it's highlighted. And when you try to force someone that's really not into being one into trying it, and it usually doesn't come off very well, but it's worth trying. It is sure worth trying, because for the Tigers after last night, you can go down the rest of the schedule. There's not a pure D gimme. Just, that one's going to be easy name to score on the rest of the year.
Well, here's my counter to your argument on not putting Quinones there. And granted, I will agree with you. I learned this truism from Sean Toohey 30 years ago. And nobody, I think, breaks it down as quickly and to the point as Sean Toohey used to do it.
About point guards?
He says you either are one or you're not one, right? And so I agree to a large extent to that message. But I would disagree with you on the Quinones experiment in this regard. I think he is maybe the toughest mentally of all the guys that are out there. I don't know DeAndre Williams well enough yet, but I would say to you that most of the time, if he's having a bad night offensively, where that affects other guys, it does not affect him mentally. He was smart enough and honest enough last night to admit that he's got to stop this yapping and this guitar strum. He got a T for the guitar strum. I thought that was a little ticky-tacky of that referee. Not really right. He's been doing that ever since he got in the league. They should have made the message immediately, or they should allow that to go, because that's the way he
there was no other conversation
joy.
With that. That's all he did.
I asked him that. He said, "Well, I did say something."
Well,
but it's sure if you
he did the guitar the rest of the game.
If you look at the replay of that, though, he makes the three. Said something to somebody on the bench, because there was a lot of yapping going on, and then he's running back down to start to play defense. He does the strum. As soon as he does the strum, the referee, I think that's Gerald Williams, who was the referee, he immediately tees him up.
Well, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. It doesn't bother me whatsoever that he does it, but if that's why he got it, and then he did it after that and didn't get it, I think it's a referee problem.
Yeah.
If he got it and didn't say anything else and just didn't get any more tees after that, then maybe, and he alluded to you, I think, maybe tone that back. Dave, when Ole Miss, and it was with a player and now the on-field mascot is named Tony the Land Shark. Tony Fine, who is a Desert Storm veteran and was recruited by Ed Orgeron, he started the Land Shark signal
Right.
in the season of 2008, and it stuck. Well, there was one game, I can't remember the game, but pre-game, the referees at midfield told Hugh Freeze, said, "Your guys do that, it's going to be a penalty tonight." He said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "But tonight it's not going to be." So sometimes you better watch stuff like that, because you don't ever know when you're going to get the celebration. And we know the throat slash is automatic in football as a unsportsmanlike conduct. In basketball, it's going to be a T. I don't mind the guitar, but I would just rather see him make shots like that. And if they're going to call that run to the other end and play the defense that he's almost patented. I mean, he is a great defensive player.
He said he if that's an issue, he would stop. And then Penny referred to, because he wasn't the only guy. Nolly got a T for yapping last night too, and Penny said yapping is selfish, and we're stopping that.
I don't ever remember Penny Hardaway yapping a time. Do you?
No.
As a player,
No,
not a time.
I really don't. And
never. He hardly said a word.
I don't think he's had a T as a coach yet, has he? Did he get one maybe last year? Because I remember I think he got one. He wasn't even trying to get one, and he really didn't do very much to
between
get it.
Josh, Tubby, and Penny, there hadn't been many T's offered up.
No.
Dave, I tell you a guy that was not a natural born point guard, and John Calipari made it work. Tyreek.
Yeah.
After Wesley Witherspoon was not going to work.
Right. No. I will say this. I don't think Lester Quinones is a true point guard by any means, but I do believe he could be a serviceable guy until you get your guy. And something has to change, because Memphis's offensive consistency is not there. And I don't know if we can say in the case of Damian Baugh that he's still injured and not near 100%. But I can tell you in the case of Alex Lomax, and I personally like Alo. I think he's a wonderful young man. And
a junior.
He continually shows that this position is not working for him. He took at least 3 crazy, out-of-character, dumb moves last night where he just went in the lane and left his feet and left himself no choice.
He launched a shot on the Tigers' offensive end in the second half on the bench area end. It was a two-handed chest pass that went up high off the glass.
Yeah.
And I think I texted Drew at that time. I texted somebody. I think that was the worst shot out of an offensive set in the history of college basketball.
He spins out of control and leaves himself no choice, and that could happen to a freshman. That shouldn't happen to a junior who's had as many games played as he has. And so I don't know what's happened to him, and he just seems to be incredibly lost. One more thing before we get to our top and our not top story. It is not safe to be a conference team in the American playing at home. 2 nights ago, we saw Frank Haith's Tulsa team
only thing home matters for. They slept in their bed last night. They may not even do that, as a lot of places repair to hotels the night before a game.
Well, there aren't much crowds, that's for sure. And in the case of Tulsa and Wichita State may have stayed at home and then came for the game.
Sure could have.
But they beat Tulsa in Tulsa, and that was pretty impressive, because this is a Wichita State team.
They got top last night.
Has an interim coach, and is really maybe not as talent laden as they had been. So that was surprising to do that against a Frank Haith team in Tulsa that has been pretty good. We know that for sure. And then last night, the last time that USF beat Cincinnati in Cincinnati?
I saw this. Late 70s?
1988.
Late 80s, okay.
1988. So that's 32 years ago. And that was in Cincy. So, and then the Tigers, I don't think has there been an American team that has won at home yet? I don't think so. Not yet.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Last night, Tulane, boy, Hunter was into that game. He was coaching his tail off.
I think he was sweating more than some of the guys on the floor.
Oh, and then he had a player late in the game that tried to supplant the shoe thrower for Florida with one of the knucklehead plays of the year.
Yeah.
And didn't seem to take the admonishment well from the head coach, and then the assistant coach got him, and then they kind of looked like that was a debate, but heat of the moment, things like that happen. Look, no one does football like FanDuel Sportsbook. This is almost hard to believe what I'm getting ready to tell you. All season long, FanDuel been bringing the exclusive offer for the best games on the weekly slate. This week, here's something you do not want to miss. New users, you can bet $5 to win $75 on Justin Herbert to throw one or more touchdowns against the Raiders tonight. That's right, one or more. You heard that right. You can bet $5 to win $75 plus $1,500 on Justin Herbert to throw one or more touchdowns. Old AFL battle tonight in Vegas between the Chargers and the Raiders.
Let me get that right. If Justin Herbert throws one touchdown, you put up 5, you get 75?
It's that simple.
Wow.
And with FanDuel Sportsbook, incredible. Just like that, incredible odds promotions are just the beginning. Simple app, live betting on every game. Exhilarating bet types such as same-game parlays where you combine multiple bets from one game into a single parlay where you can win big. And once you win big, they get you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. So if you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, it's time to get off the sidelines. You're winning no cash on the sidelines. Get on that field to play. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and use promo code CASH to make your first deposit to claim your exclusive odds boost. That's promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas, and everyone at Lexus of Memphis wishes you a most happy and healthy 2021 as we say goodbye, or is that good riddance to 2020. They are at 2600 Ridgeway, and they are online at lexusofmemphis.com, and they are the only Lexus dealer in Memphis. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the December to Remember Golden Opportunity Holiday Sales Event. Great offers on the ones and twos that are remaining of the 2020s, and here come the 2021s. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2021 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and driving in style. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. You can call them. They answer the phone, 901-362-8833. You're not in hold. You know what? They answer it. They get to you. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, this could have been yesterday, but I wasn't here. But I got to chip in here and say, how about that Mike Oresco calling out the College Football Playoff Committee, basically saying, let's go back to the computers. Let's go to the BCS. They were fairer than this group.
Let's go to UPI-AP deciding it.
That this group just really doesn't care. They just want to make sure they figure out a way, which is their own votes, to get in the top 4 brands, whether they deserve to be in or not. And doesn't matter that they can kick around a team that might play hard, that even looks better than some on paper, the smell test that they're supposed to go by, but it doesn't have the ring of a team that's got 5 wins and hasn't really beaten anybody that we know of, maybe one in Indiana. Right on Mike Oresco for sticking up for your guys.
For sure.
That is for sure.
Dave, I agree with everything he said. I side with that. I just offer this up. Dennis Dodd, that I often don't agree with. I don't know him well enough to like him or dislike him. But he had this simple tweet today. Noted, the group of 5 signed off on this system that gives 15% of the CFP revenue and has a 13-member committee pick teams. They've got 6 years left on a system that they approved. And they did.
Yeah.
They signed up for this.
Can I ask you something? Do you really think they had a choice when they made that? It was either accept 15% or get nothing. That's all. That was the choice they made. So that needs to be pointed out to Dennis Dodd. And I like Dennis Dodd, but that is really, to me, not a fair thing to say, because that was signed under duress. It was either take the 15% or get nothing.
And next time, they will have no bargaining power, and it's hard to believe there's 6 years left on that. My top story, it was a win last night at Tulane, which averts a nasty conversation for now. At times last night, again, the Tigers had moments. You take the kind of the Olympic diving and take the high, some of the high from the Auburn game and the high from the Tulane game, there's a lot there. There's some really, really good there. You take the low, and oh my, DeAndre Williams, he will be an asset, but the Tigers don't have consistent point guard play. It's obvious to everyone, painfully obvious. And if the Tulane player doesn't pull the basketball version of the Florida football shoe throw, things get really uncomfortable last night. But a win is a win, and it is early, and it is an odd year. Remember, nobody really knows their team. There are a lot of teams that are together more on that charter flight down there and back than you are at practice time this year. That's everybody. And it's not like the Tigers are the only one being punished by this. I know that. But there's still some nice parts of this Tiger team that I think can build and bring it all together. We'll see.
I like your take, and there are moments where this team looks like a definite tournament team.
24-7 was gold star moments.
A top 25 team. And,
down 31-30 at halftime wasn't the world.
But here's the thing: is you have to be consistent. There are going to be moments where teams make runs. Even bad teams will make a run or two. But you can't have the 6 or 7 minute droughts that this team has. That's not what top 25 teams do. They may have 2.5, 3 minute droughts. They may allow a 7-0 run, but they're not going to allow that 14-2 run at the end of the first half. That is where the Tigers have to get a little bit better. I still think, though, the Tigers would have won that game even without that particular set of that technical foul, which gave Jaden Hardaway 4 straight free throws.
It would have gotten uncomfortable.
It would have been. I think that's true.
Not top story of the day.
Well, those are these numbers, and despite the fact that the first vaccines were given out and more help is coming from Moderna being distributed by FedEx, Dr. Threlkeld was very to the point when he spoke with Channel 3 today. He said Tennessee is now the worst place in the world for coronavirus transmission. We have today in Shelby County, which is better than some other areas of the state, 1,163 new cases, 4 new fatalities, 8,700 tests at 13.3%, and we're down to 11 ICU beds. 484,000 cases and 5,600 deaths in the state of Tennessee, 2,200 new cases in the state of Mississippi, and in Arkansas now they have surpassed 3,000 fatalities. In the United States, 17.5 million with 68,000 new at about 1 o'clock today, 315,000 who have passed away, and we are over 75 million cases worldwide.
My not top story, the Pittsburgh Steelers with a 2-game losing streak. They don't play again until Monday night, the last game of this long march of games starting tonight. 2-game losing streak. They were never going 16-0. And I think they'll be okay. But Big Ben looks 63 years old, and no Bud Dupree on defense.
I think the Pittsburgh Steelers were due. Because, look, they'd won all those in a row. We're all talking 72 Dolphins. And the truth is, that's really hard to do. And this team is a really good team, but not a great team. It'll take a great team to ever get to 20-0. This team wasn't going to do that. They were going to lose a couple. I think they're going to get their wake-up call. And I know that Monday night game is against Cincinnati. And I think, now that's a tough cover, 13.5, but I wouldn't be shocked if they covered. I think they're going to win that game easily, and I think that they will bounce back. That is our top and our not top story. We are sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. And a reminder, it's still going on. It'll probably go on into next month. That's the Holidays at Home sale right there at Family Leisure at I-40 and Whidden Road, where they got spas, hundreds of spas on order. Go in, make your order. They will get it to you, I mean quickly. Pool tables, game tables, arcades, all a part of the family at home, right? We're all at home this Christmas, this New Year's. How about enticing your crew, your small crew, your bubble, to come on over and play some games? They'll love that. And then there's the massage chair for after that big Christmas meal. Maybe it's a commissary bird. After you've had that meal, you want to sit down in a massage chair, special prices for the holidays at home sale at Family Leisure. And don't forget the pools, because you can save on the 2021 price increase. That's coming. You beat it by buying now, and you get priority on installation this spring. That's the Family Leisure Holidays at Home sale. Family and fun all coming together for the holidays. We are back in just a minute. When we return, Bill Bender, who's written a nice story on all of the 32 bowl games. We'll get his takes on that. We'll get his takes on what exactly he thought about Mike Oresco's comments yesterday. Bill Bender from the Sporting News comes your way in a minute.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane. Weekday mornings from 7 till 10 on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
James Davis is one of those stores that just says Memphis. It's an original. The finest men's clothing in Memphis can be found in the Laurelwood Shopping Center at James Davis. Let's start with the Stant Custom Fitting System. This is relatively new. You can only find it at James Davis Men's Store, and it's where you walk through the door. You're going to take 3 quick measurements, about 15 seconds, and then about a week later, you're going to get the perfect fitting shirt. I mean, in the neck where you can tie your ties comfortably, all kinds of colors, all kinds of fabrics. The same thing with pants. A couple of measurements. A week later, you've got a perfect fitting in the waist, in the leg, pair of pants that makes you feel good. And they still have the great Paul Battenley suit deal. 2 for $7.95. You look great on Zoom calls. Sweaters and pullovers, perfect for eating outside. The best place to go for men's clothing in Memphis. It's simple. James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
Do you rent your home? Sure you do. And I bet it can be hard work. You know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your renter's insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com. Again, that's geico.com.
Swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops this holiday season for the hottest gifts from Bushnell Golf. Featuring the Tour V5 and Tour V5 Shift rangefinders, featuring Pin Seeker with visual jolt and bike magnetic cart mount, and featuring this season's #1 gift from Bushnell, the Wingman, the world's first Bluetooth speaker with audible GPS distances. Come into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get your Bushnell today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, your holiday headquarters since 1968, and shop online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stack. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochin and Brett Norsworthy.
Happy holidays, everybody. I should mention tonight, final night of Hanukkah, which is just a great night, Brett, because you got the shamus and you got all 8 candles, your kitchen or your den or your dining room, wherever you light your candles.
Very festive.
Man, it's beautiful. It's glowing. I can't wait for it. I really can't. In the meantime, it's time to bring in our friend Bill Bender. He's written a story in the Sporting News.
Are you going to have any good grog to celebrate with tonight?
Me?
Yeah.
Every night I can find some grog. I've got this new thing, and we're going to be introducing it officially tomorrow, but it's called Tiger Tail. It's a new craft malt liquor from Grind City Brewing Company, and the maker of the beer is going to be on with us tomorrow at 4:30.
All right.
Delicious and best beer can design in the city.
And 16 ounces
Oh, yeah,
and
great.
7.5% alcohol, baby.
Look at you.
I mean,
Three or four, and you're pretty good.
Well,
That'd get you there.
I think one will be.
That's thrilling victory real fast.
Pretty good for me. But I'm just saying to you, we got so many good things to try. It's
Good
the
deal.
holidays.
Good deal.
It really
Time
is.
to be festive.
Bill Bender, I started celebrating last night when I saw Mike Oresco come out strong, bring back the computers, bring back the BCS. They're more fair. They're more objective than this college football playoff committee. What was your first thought, Bill, when you heard the commissioner come out yesterday?
First of all, it's beer 30 down there, it sounds like, and I got to get through basketball practice with the boys first. So you guys are making me jealous over here. 3 or 4, I'll take 3 or 4 of those. But I thought it was embarrassing that they put Cincinnati number 9, putting them behind Georgia especially. And then the way I would couch it is, Georgia or Florida would probably beat Cincinnati if they played head-to-head. I'm not under the illusion that wouldn't happen.
Iowa State wouldn't. I don't think Iowa State would.
I think it's a game. And I think the Bearcats are more deserving of the number 5 or 6 ranking than those teams ahead of them. I think it's really embarrassing.
Do you think they'll get that?
I'm with you, Bill. It's hard to defend our sport. I said yesterday, Dave was away, so Dave's hearing this for the first time as well. I said yesterday, we have such a great regular season, and we've got our postseason so horribly messed up.
That's a great point. Do you think, Bill, the committee is embarrassed by what occurred yesterday with Oresco?
They're probably not happy, but I mean, he's dead on. I mean, what do you want? He's calling them out for what most of us are seeing. Again, you can say, well, we need an 18th playoff. Well, we don't have one. We could do this. Well, we don't have one, and we're also playing amid a COVID-19 pandemic, and makes it hard. And I think when I left basketball. We had practice Tuesdays and Thursdays. I left practice, and I coached with a Cincinnati grad, and he was fuming. He was in his car. He couldn't believe it. He was texting me 3 hours later, still angry about it. And I said, "You have every right to be mad. This is pretty embarrassing."
He should be, and Bill, I'm not as quick on if they played of that staunch, lawless, lifetime dues paid up SEC hack. I am, but I don't think the SEC's that special this year. The number one is Crimson Tide. They are, but the rest of it, I don't know how special it is, and I like to do the what if games if they did it in a 3-game rotation. They played at Nippert Stadium, they played at Sanford Stadium, and they played in a neutral. How would those games be? That's how I like to try to decide if possibly they ever ran into each other.
Well, and here's the other problem with it is, you do by the time they get there. So let's play it out. Cincinnati's not going to the playoffs, so they'll play either in the Peach Bowl or the Cotton Bowl or somewhere like that, and they'll play one of those 3 SEC teams, A&M, Florida, or Georgia, and we'll do the move where if the SEC school wins, see, told you, blowout, not worthy. And then, what's the first sentence that comes out of everybody's mouth if Cincinnati beats one of those teams?
The SEC team didn't care.
They didn't care. They didn't want to be there.
Oh, that's what they said when UCF beat Auburn.
And it's bad on every level. Hey, everybody, pack your own motivation.
And yeah, you saw it with UCF in back-to-back seasons. LSU apparently wanted to be there because they beat UCF by a bunch of points without McKenzie
not
Milton.
that many. That was a game for a long stretch, and Joe Burrow took a colossal shot that night too, right to the chops.
Auburn didn't want to be there though when they lost, and that's unfortunate that our sport that I love so much. I mean, there was again Mike DeCourcy and I going back and forth, and he was calling it. He's starting to label the playoff the Invitational, and that term is getting a lot of tread on social media, not just from Mike but others. And
it's true.
Do that,
it's true though.
It's not. I'm trying to defend college football here, and it's not entirely inaccurate.
Bill, it's almost indefensible.
Well, and then the committee can. What I think is eventually going to happen, though, is they can fall back on what's probably going to happen this weekend. I see Alabama winning big. Not big, big enough, 10-14, whatever. Ohio State's not going to lose to Northwestern. And then I think Clemson beats Notre Dame by about 10. and we get those 4 in the playoffs. And then all the problems are solved. Where they're going to run into some issues is if Florida wins,
That's
if
the big-
Northwestern wins,
Okay, I don't think
if Notre Dame wins.
I don't think Northwestern's going to win because I don't think they can score enough. I think
I'm with y'all.
They'll play for a little bit, but Ohio State's got too much firepower,
And they're well rested.
and they're gonna and they're gonna try to run it up to make it look like they belong in that playoff. That's for sure. That's in my mind. I don't think Florida will beat Alabama, but let's just say something happens. Okay, Mac Jones gets injured, some crazy thing. Now let's say Florida wins that game. Do you take both those? Are you going to say to Alabama they don't get to play because they just lost to a 2-loss team?
Or you omit the SEC champion Florida.
How can you do that?
No,
They just won the championship.
I think Alabama will get in no matter what, as long as they don't lose by like 30. And then it just becomes, can you put Florida in over who? And the team that's got to be sweating that scenario out, some people think it's Ohio State. It's not. The Buckeyes win, they're in. Notre Dame probably sweats a little bit.
Notre Dame sweating?
If they lose to Clemson and Florida beats Alabama, I think it's closer than it appears.
Unbelievable.
I don't see how you could take Ohio State.
There was a time that they dictated the terms of the whole sport.
Over a Notre Dame team that beat a team that's already in the college football playoff rankings, that they beat once this year, and Ohio State has, 6 wins without one that you could really go, well, they were a great team. I mean, Indiana is a decent win. I'm not calling it a great win. And I'm a Big Ten guy. I grew up in Chicago. Okay?
I think it was a good win against a pretty good team.
I think
but
it's not great. And then you're going to tell me Northwestern, which is a very one-dimensional team, you're going to say that's a great win too, and okay, they're in. What about USC? What if USC beats Oregon?
Oh, I mean, they have essentially a very similar resume to Ohio State, a 6-game resume with no game where you're like, wow. I mean, I think Indiana's okay. They're good enough, but I'm not saying my scenario is right. I'm just saying that's probably what's going to happen. Ohio State wins. If the scores are going to matter a little bit here, because that perception needle can move a little bit. Let's say, like you said, Ohio State probably pours it on and wins by a bunch. Now, we can flip it the other way. If Ohio State wins 24-21 and then Notre Dame loses 24-21, it's probably pretty even. And then Notre Dame probably does get the benefit of the doubt in some ways.
Tough question. A hard one here for
hard.
you. Hard one here for you, Bill.
Sure.
Because I really am not sure of the answer. But when it comes to college football, which truly is the bigger brand? Is it Notre Dame or is it Ohio State?
Oh, I mean, I'm in the wrong state. I would say Ohio State, but I've lived in Ohio most of my life. I think they, in the history of college football, Notre Dame, but in the last 40 years, I'd say Ohio State, no question. Since 2000, it's definitely Ohio State, no question.
Yeah,
and that brand
century,
carries a lot of weight.
Isn't that something?
It just
because
carries.
Notre Dame's still magical to me. I think in my heart of hearts, Saturday, I know so. I'm pulling for Notre Dame, and unless it's against Alabama, I'm for Notre Dame in the semis and the finals.
I don't really care who wins either way, unless Memphis or an American team is in it. I really don't. But I would say this: I find that interesting because I think, Bill, and you're an objective and a very smart guy. I think your perspective on that, on the brand being more valuable in Columbus, Ohio than in South Bend, Indiana, is clearly a geography thing. I don't think if we ask people around the country, and we're not putting down Ohio State at all, but if you said which is the more valuable, which is the symbol of college football, Notre Dame or Ohio State?
If we went to
Newt Rockne or Woody Hayes, come on.
If we went to Dallas and asked that question, what do you think the answer would be, Bill?
Yeah.
I think the right answer, and to me, I mean, if you ask me who is the brand that defines college football, I think in the current state over the last 20 years or so, and maybe you could take it back 50, I think it's a co-MVP answer of Ohio State and Alabama. I think Ohio State and Alabama are identical programs in a lot of ways. because I talked
They're
to
not
the
in
fan bases enough.
championships.
What's that?
They're not identical in championships.
How many does Alabama have? 17, right?
Well, I thought we were going 21st century.
Well, that's true, but I mean, you look at the record and the success. I mean, Ohio State has 2 national championships. Alabama has 6. But I mean, I can counter with this. There is a stretch from 2000 before Saban where Alabama was highly irrelevant. Ohio State hasn't been.
The 90s were better to the
Ohio
Buckeyes
State
than
had
to the
one
Tide.
bad season since 2000.
But
And
even
they've had
in those
3 different
90s,
coaches.
but even in those 90s, Bama won it once and Ohio State won it 0.
True, and then that was the Cooper thing. But if Ryan Day wins a national championship at Ohio State, and I would say of the coaches that don't have one in college football right now, he's the most likely to win one. Based on
That's
just
fair. That's fair.
That's an easy statement to make to me. Tressel, Meyer, and Ryan Day will all have one. So when you have a program where 3 different coaches can win it, LSU did that with Saban, Les, and Ed, but I don't think they have the year-to-year stability where I always tell you, Brad, I tell you guys this all the time, the season doesn't really start till Alabama loses. And
so true.
So in effect, the season might not start this year because I don't know
Right.
if they're going to lose anyway.
Yeah, we have a texter at 67129 at our First Bank text line that says Alabama always gets in. Let me read it exactly. Bama gets in every year, no matter what, every year. I'd like for that person to text us back and tell me the year that he thought they didn't deserve to get in.
Well, I mean, Alabama and Ohio State are the only ones that out of the Power 5 that didn't win their conference and get in. I'm just talking about brand power. I mean, those 2 kind of run the sport to me. And then, if we're going all time, it's just my vantage point being a Catholic kid from Ohio. I mean, when I grew up, K through 12, most of my friends are either
Irish.
Ohio State or Notre Dame. You had Ohio State, Notre Dame, and a couple Michigan guys sprinkled in. That's how our school was, and that's how it is all across Ohio. And all I know is when Ohio State and Notre Dame play, and if they somehow bump each other into the semifinals, that gets every bit as catty as Ohio State Michigan does. Every bit. And it will if they end up playing each other in a semifinal.
It'd be good stuff.
Last thing, because I know you got to go. What do you think really would happen if Ohio State had to play at Cincinnati this year? What would the game be like?
Down there, it might be a little more. They had a good one down there in 2002. I think Cincinnati would hang around for about a half, maybe into the third, and it would. Best case scenario, Cincinnati would make it a game like Indiana did. Because I would honestly, you said Cincinnati beat Iowa State, I'd co-sign that. I think Cincinnati beat Indiana. Maybe, definitely now without Penix. I
definitely
think they would.
without Penix. I agree with that.
I think they would beat Indiana. I think they'd be the second best team in the Big Ten this year. That's how far I would go to say that. But when you're dealing with the Ohio State question in the Big Ten, they've won 20 in a row in the conference. So it's on anybody to beat them at this point.
He is Bill Bender. You read him. I was going to ask you about the article you wrote about all the bowls. We'll try to do that some other time. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it. Happy holidays to you.
You guys are great.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks
Thank
so
you
much. I'll talk to you next week.
You got
Take care.
That is Bill Bender from the Sporting News on college football. This portion of our show is brought to you by Brian Elder Roofing Solutions. Brian and Chris Price, call me. Well, there's a reason he wants you to call him. It's because they really want to help you. They truly do. They don't want your roofing problems to become an essential emergency service. That's what happens if you aren't proactive. Take a look at your roof. If there's any shingles astray, simple solution. Let them come out and take a look. Now, look, they have technology that can measure your roof from outer space. We know that. They'd rather come out. They really would. They want to take a look. If there's anything that's really an issue, they'll contact the insurance company for you. They're not going to fix something that doesn't need fixing. They're not going to give you a new roof when there's maybe a real simple fix. These are good guys whose job it is to find solutions for you. Thus, Brian Elder Roofing Solutions. They only use the best products on the market, and they provide their customers with what I think is the best warranty around. It's the no questions asked warranty, which means they stand by their work. So call Chris Price or call Brian Elder himself. Simple number, it's sort of famous now, 867-0303. They've been around a long time. You've heard that number a lot because a lot of people have called it. 867-0303. That's the number for a free consultation of Brian Elder Roofing Solutions. Back in just a minute, we'll take a little gander at the way the recruiting wars went yesterday. That is next on Sports Time on Sports 56.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through lunch daily from 10 to 1.
Well, lunch is served.
Only on Sports 56, 98.5 FM and 96.1 FM.
Tired of waiting on your sportsbook? Waiting for deposits and withdrawals? No more waiting with Action 24/7. We're cutting out the middleman. Deposit or withdrawal in cash. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit action247.com for a location. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
I just left those Ford and Toyota dealers. You ought to see their selection of new cars and trucks. And you should see their prices. Santa trades a Sunrise Buick GMC truck. Top trade-in for old sleds. Immediate financing. A true bargain lot with cars and trucks under $99.95. And remember, Sunrise specializes in first-time buyers. Want to buy a car or truck and have some left over for the holidays? SunriseMemphis.com. Covington, Pike, Wolfchase, and Collierville. Happy holidays.
Just announced employee pricing for everyone on select models.
Corky's is the answer for your holiday feast. Turkey, hams, and all the fixins'. Oh, by the way, try our new Southern Layer cakes. Order at Corky'sBBQ.com and save $5.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, theme dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We like to party.
Welcome back in. Nice to have you with us on this Thursday afternoon. So yesterday, I thought it was a really good day for Ryan Silverfield. He was so happy. We taped a bowl special show that will air Sunday night on ABC 24. And at the end of the show, he did allude to, because it was after most of the signings had come in, he alluded to what a great day it was and that there would be several more surprises that would come in February. It was a great day for Ole Miss. They got a couple of big flips, really at the price of Mississippi State, who was amongst the losers in all of this. But I think Lane Kiffin couldn't have asked for a better recruiting day than the one he got. What are they in the country? They were
high teens.
Yeah, I got them at 18.
But
18.
Today, to be on the front page, when ESPN.com pops up today and you're there.
You're amongst the winners.
And you're 18?
Well, how about this? You're
a winner.
You're considered the winner. And did you see who was in the losers? Auburn and Mississippi State were prominently placed.
Mike Leach did the almost unthinkable, Drew. We talked yesterday about no coach ever goes out there and says, today really stunk.
Yeah.
He all but did.
He said, for today, it is what it is, basically. He did it like a Calipari thing. Is pretty much what he had to say. But you're right. Yeah, he was pretty honest. It was a disappointing day for him. It was a great day for Alabama. It was a great day for Ohio State, Georgia, LSU. Remember we said
Go through those names again. Did you just read the college football playoff or recruiting?
Let me get Clemson in. Oregon is probably maybe the most Johnny-come-lately into that big club of the top 10.
It matters.
Which is why Mario Cristobal got a heck of a raise today.
It matters. It parallels with your ultimate success, but we ultimately won't know for 3 or 4 years. I threw this out yesterday, Dave. How many guys from signing yesterday or even into February will be honored in exactly 4 years on senior day by that school they signed with out of a 25-man signing class?
I don't know. What is the percentage?
I don't know. What do you think it is? 8 or 10 of them?
Ooh, no. I think it's more like 7 out of the 10.
It's a low number.
Yeah.
To go all the way and to do it in 4 years. No red shirt.
Well, I mean, let's face it.
No
if
transfer,
you're
no
great,
injury.
If you're a great player, and the players that are going to Alabama and to Ohio State and to
are not
Georgia
go pro early.
and LSU and Clemson, they're going to go after their third year, right?
Yeah.
So they're not going to be around for senior day.
And hardly would accept a red shirt.
Yeah. I'll tell you who the losers were, and I hate this. Justin Fuente. And we didn't we talk about when he got that extension how every game next year would be a referendum?
Yeah.
And, the one area, if I were critiquing him, and I'm sure R.C. Johnson was doing it at the time, but if you were critiquing Justin Fuente, he did everything right here with one exception. He was not a dynamite recruiter.
Now, R.C. didn't hire him, did he? I thought that was a Brad Martin hire.
Well, R.C. was around, but it probably was Brad Martin.
Brad
You're probably
Martin,
right.
Alan Graff hire.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. But R.C. was still here when that hire took place.
Yeah, you got to really love the stuff. And I can tell you, Lane Kiffin doesn't. He can't stand it, but he's pretty good at it.
Well, Virginia
I
Tech
think most of them hate it and some fake it better than others.
Virginia Tech is 46. They are behind Cincinnati. They are behind SM. Well, I think they're right even there with SMU, but they're behind Cincinnati at 44. Memphis at 50 was the third, but Memphis is going to move up because they got a few more coming. And Cincinnati, I think, was 22 or 24 of their commitments already in. But when you're 40, Virginia Tech was 43. I mean, my goodness, that does not bode well. I'll tell you another guy who was a good recruiter here was Mike Norvell, and he's not done his magic yet at Florida State. They're 31.
Now, Kiffin turned Luke Altmaier around from Starkville on him. He had been a long FSU commitment.
Look, Kiffin did a great job. I mean, he did an outstanding job.
He was
State,
71 in the 70s on most of these lists 3 weeks ago.
Wow. And Mississippi State, which was up there, slipped all the way down to 36. And they were
Tennessee was slippage.
They were in the place. Well, Tennessee had a little slippage for sure, but they still ended up.
They really slipped late Saturday, Sunday night.
They ended up at 18. Could have been a lot worse.
Get hammered by A&M. I think it could be a long, fitful Saturday and Sunday for Jeremy Pruitt.
It could be, and that could happen too. It could be a long game. Texas A&M has everything to play for.
They just haven't played very much, have they?
No,
they're rested.
They have not.
A lot of teams are good and rested.
Yeah, there is no doubt. Some of those teams that rested were able to move up.
Yeah. Yeah. This portion of our show being brought to you in part by Jason's Deli. I was by there today. Happy holidays from everyone there. Over 200 Memphis area Jason's Deli associates. They've been there for you all year, but you've been there for them, and they appreciate you so much. They know we're going to start 2021 making the same strides we've tried to end 2020 with, and it's meeting these challenges, and there are so many. They love to say wholesome food forever. It's a family thing, and at all these restaurants, locations on Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova, they strive for excellence. All about choice at Jason's Deli, regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, or you'd like to invent your sandwich via the Build Your Own selection. You'll be delighted at Jason's Deli, and all that good, healthy stuff, it's there if you want it, and also, this is there if you want it. At the end, in the restaurants, in the locations, free ice cream every time. Catering anytime, anywhere. Great salad bar, over 30 items just to choose from there. You make the selections. They prepare it for you. Everything safe, everything contactless, and everything with you in mind, the very valued customer. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
This story I am just seeing for the first time. Apparently, we knew that Kelvin Sampson and his son did not coach, and Houston had paused things.
Yeah, it's unanimous.
Apparently, all 15 of the Houston players and staff members have COVID.
Now,
all 15 players.
Now, the good news for the players, the young players, I'm going to bet every one of them will be fine. But for those staffers,
well, there might be some concern for sure.
Be careful.
Wow.
Boy, they have had it, haven't they?
Man,
and Houston.
That's the first time I've seen where a basketball team, every member of the team had it.
In
wow.
the city of and South Texas, raging hot spot.
Yep, no doubt. No doubt about it. We may have been remiss. The Grizzlies have a home game tonight. They will be playing at FedEx Forum for the very first time since March 10th.
I was there the last time they were there.
282 days, I believe it is. Isn't that amazing? 282 days. They're back tonight. They play the Atlanta Hawks. We're going to talk some NBA. And this begins our regular conversation with our friend from Orlando and Yahoo Sports. Keith Smith will come your way in just a minute. Hour number 2 right around the corner of Sports Time on Sports 56.
Is the cost of finishing the basement worth the benefit of some peace and quiet?
When questions find you, Merrill Edge Self-Directed Investing can help you find answers with personalized planning tools and insights to help you get where you want to go, even if it's just downstairs. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/withinreach to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated. Registered broker-dealer, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. When was the last time you had your heating system cleaned? How about a safety inspection? Right now, Conway Service is offering our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your heating system for only $69. That's right, for only $69, we'll come out and perform our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your heating system. We'll also include a complete safety inspection using our state-of-the-art camera system, making sure your heating system is safe to operate this winter. Plus, we'll run a carbon monoxide test on your heating system, all for only $69. If that's not enough, as your smart home provider, we'll include a free Nest Hub with your paid tune-up while supplies last. You can have the peace of mind knowing your heating system is safe and ready to use on those cold winter nights. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And call this week, and we'll perform your heating system tune-up for only $57.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Ryan Radke and Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner here from Westwood One with a preview of Thursday Night Football, sponsored by Prilosec. Treat your frequent heartburn with Prilosec OTC. Week 15 kicks off with AFC West rivalry action. The Chargers, led by rookie quarterback Justin Herbert, and the Raiders. And Kurt, Derek Carr and the Raiders won a close game in their Week 9 meeting. How do you see Act 2?
Well, Act 2 to me is really about the Raiders. This is a team that was looking the playoffs right in the face, and now they're starting to struggle a little bit. They need to get back on track. Really starts with Josh Jacobs running the football, and Derek Carr has been pretty consistent all year long, but needs to step up with the big plays. And then Justin Herbert's been great. They've got to find a way to stop him from getting big plays.
Join us from Las Vegas for the Chargers and the Raiders for Thursday Night Football. Remember to listen to Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But it may not work for your clients. That's why Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first. It's the highest standard for a financial advisor.
So, what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios like the rest of us?
No cookie-cutter portfolios here. Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to meet each client's goals and needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right? And make commissions when you make trades for your clients?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission investment products, and we never earn commissions on trades.
So what's in it for you?
Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. When it comes to helping clients achieve a comfortable retirement, we're clearly different. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome in on this second hour on a Thursday, chilly Thursday, but a sunny day. Help get the doldrums out of the deep and dark winter days that we had been having. Today's an interesting day for sure. Transmission in the state of Tennessee of COVID, not good. Dr. Threlkeld, who has been a guest on this show many, many times, told Channel 3 that Tennessee is the worst place in the world right now for coronavirus transmission. We know down in Houston it's not very good, with all 15 of the Cougars actually having COVID-19 all at the same time. That is pretty amazing, but help is on the way. The first vaccines were given today in the Memphis area at Germantown Methodist and at the VA. FedEx has said they will be part of the big distribution chain of the Moderna vaccine, which is coming out. So it's coming. Hold on. Let's be smart. That is for sure. And for the first time in 282 days, the Grizzlies will be playing at FedEx Forum in an exhibition game with the Atlanta Hawks. Oh, by the way, did you notice the Minnesota game the other night? They did not use the local broadcast. They used the Minnesota Timberwolves broadcast, which had me worried. I called Pete Pranica. Pete says, I'm okay, no problem, thanks for asking. But with almost every Fox affiliate, they were taking one game off and using the other team's feed. I don't know if that was budgetary or what they were doing it for, but that was the case. He is okay. They are okay. They will be on the call. Brevin, and Fish will be on the call for tonight's game on Fox Sports Southeast. In the meantime, it is NBA time, which means now we'll have our regular conversations with our friend from down in Orlando and from Yahoo Sports. That is Keith Smith. Keith, happy holidays to you, your family, and let's start with, what do you think from the national perspective should be the expectations for the Grizzlies this year?
Thank you for the holiday wishes. Same to you and yours. For the Grizzlies, I think the hope this season is that they can replicate what they did last year, and that's be in that playoff mix. The Western Conference is so tough. And this year, Memphis isn't going to sneak up on anybody. Last year, a lot of people, myself included, thought they might be one of the worst teams in the league, and they certainly outplayed that. I think not having a couple guys early, if Jaren Jackson Jr., Justice Winslow, depending on how long they're out, that's going to hurt them a little bit. But if they can weather that storm and stay in the playoff mix, I think that stays a pretty successful season.
Playoff mix being the tournament, the 7 through 10, or kicking the door down and being 1 through 6, more towards 6 probably.
Yeah, I think it's the 7 through 10.
Yeah.
I think 1 through 6 that's probably just a bridge too far for this season.
Yeah, and that's okay, and they were right there square on that. I think I saw today some season over and under totals. Where are you on total Grizzlies wins?
I'm in the car. I don't have my stuff in front of me, but I think they'll probably be in that, it's being a 72-game season. So I think somewhere in the 32 to 36 range.
Yeah.
It feels about right. 500 feels probably the top end, and slightly below that is probably closer to where they'll land.
Earlier this week, we saw Giannis Antetokounmpo sign a Supermax, the biggest contract in the history of the NBA, guaranteed 5 years, $228.2 million. For some of us, that was a sign that, you know what, you can be a small market team and you can still get guys to stay home. You got the advantage. You can offer them more. And if you can prove to them that you're interested in really making a good team around that particular star, that you can keep them. Now, some would say, you know what, they signed that big deal because they can, and then they'll try to get out of it in 2 or 3 years. What do you make of the Antetokounmpo signing?
I think both things are kind of true. I think, we know in the NBA contracts are only as good as your, trade restricted. Beyond that, guys can and do ask for trades all the time. But I think, I tend to be a little bit more on the optimist side of things. I think the fact that Giannis re-signed there in Milwaukee when he could have been an unrestricted free agent this offseason and could have just played out this year and then said, I'm headed elsewhere. I'm going to go. And any of the other 29 teams would have done anything they had to do to line up to get him. That's how that would have played out. That's a great thing for him to re-sign there. I think these Supermax extensions have not exactly worked out the way the NBA hoped that they would, where players would lock in and stay home, and this would really help out the small market teams because in some cases the player said, that's the last thing I want to do is lock in for a number of years. But I think in Giannis's case, I think this is a great sign, and I think what you said at the very beginning is the most important part of all of that is you have to put a good team around them because guys in the NBA are no longer going to stay in a place where they cannot win. You can build your stardom in any market in the league. The small market stuff doesn't matter as much, but you have to be able to win. That's what guys care about now, right there with the money.
He could be out of there in 2 years, conceivably.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he could, this year, he's trade restricted for the whole season. He could ask for a trade next offseason. He's not going to, barring, complete and utter disaster of a year. But, yeah, it's just the way it works in the NBA. Well, once any kind of trade restriction is up, guys can, and they do ask. I mean, look at James Harden. He wants to trade, and he still has 3 years under contract with the Rockets.
I heard a national guy on our station, Rob Parker, basically say this was the greatest thing that could have happened to the league because here's a guy willing to stay where he's been, where they nurtured him, and he's willing to see if a GM can put a team around him as opposed to guys leaving and trying to dictate terms other places and make their own super teams, that this was salvation for the league.
Yeah, I think there's definitely, some truth to that. I think the NBA, as much as, if you really cornered the top, people in the NBA, then could get, truth serum into them and get them to tell you exactly how they feel. I think they tell you they like the player movement because it keeps them in the news all year long. It's, it's that kind of drama. That's the world we live in now. People want to be able to, see things. It's that kind of a more of immediate thing of, versus, having to wait to see it play out on the court. Let's break it all down here. And, I want to throw it into my 2K video game and see what it looks like and all those things. But I think, in Giannis's case, I think he's built a little bit different. I look at him being a player who came over from Europe, much like Dirk Nowitzki, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, a lot of those guys. This is not only home, but this is home in the United States. This is home in a foreign country for them. And Milwaukee is, ingrained in him now. It's no different than, some of these guys who we hear about, grew up in, Chicago or New York and they want to get back there. I think that applies to Giannis as well. And that's, something that I think got a little overlooked when people were, rushing to get him off to, one of the big market teams. I think that really does matter. And that is important and good for the league.
Keith, what would you call right there in your backyard? What size market is Orlando? What are the Magic?
It's bigger than people think. I think they get lumped in a small market because I think when people say, big market, they think Boston, New York, Chicago, LA, and then, maybe, the Houston and Dallas areas.
Chicago.
And then they kind of leave Chicago. Yep. They leave, kind of everybody else out of that mix. Maybe, the Bay Area up there in Oakland. But, Orlando, I think they're more of a mid sized market here because you can make in a normal year, as far as the NBA goes, it stretches from Jacksonville to Tampa as well, and includes them in the market for NBA wise. But yeah, it gets lumped into the small market.
I'm curious, and this is off basketball, but you're also our Disney expert because I know you work for Disney. How is that doing? I talked to somebody who had actually taken a vacation there and said that while crowds were down, it was still pretty well packed, and you still had some lines to wait, but it was negotiable, and they were really good about social distancing and cleanliness and things of that nature. How has the tourist industry, which is a big part of Orlando, obviously, how is that faring in this day and age?
It's doing better than I think most people expected it would. There was a sense of no one is going to want to come if you have to wear a mask the entire time you're in the park, and you're only going to be able to do certain things. And they've restricted how many people can get into the park. And a big part of here at Walt Disney World, because there is 4 theme parks, is the park hopping, where you start the day at Magic Kingdom and then you finish up at Epcot. And they're not doing shows and parades right now because those are really hard to do with social distancing in mind. But what they've done is their safety precautions. I have a lot of people who say when they have been, now my family and I have not been since everything, went sideways in the world. But friends of ours who have been and said, I feel safer there than I do at the grocery store or Target because if you take the mask off, they're immediately on. You put your mask on. If you get too close to anybody, they're immediately telling you need to spread out, you need to be distant. So, it's a different kind of vacation, but they're doing okay, and they're hanging in there right now.
By the end of this basketball season, the 2021 season, do you think what kind of fans in the arenas?
I think everywhere we'll have some. I think the fact that we've got the vaccine coming in here now, and I'm hopeful, and everything I'm reading is they're hoping to really get that, distributed to, mass populations, in the coming months. I think so by the fact that the season is going to stretch into, the early part of the summer this year, I think we will see, fans in arenas. I think we're 5 teams now. We're going to have small amounts of fans to start out the year in their arenas. So, that'll grow. We'll do those small amounts in other places, and then those will grow. And I think there is a hope that, maybe by the time we get to the playoffs or the latter rounds of the playoffs, we might be able to get back to, capacity or near capacity if the vaccine distribution is wide enough.
Well, we should point out the Grizzlies tonight will have a crowd. There will be about
I'm
going to guess 2,000 to 3,000 somewhere in there, and the Tigers have had 3 games now that they've had people. Yeah, 3 games, and so this will be the first for the Grizzlies tonight. So there are some crowds here. We are talking, and we do every week now, with Keith Smith from Yahoo Sports on the NBA, writes for Yahoo down in Orlando. What do you make of Kyrie Irving? The Kyrie Irving that we knew several years ago, as he was building to a championship with LeBron in Cleveland, was a guy I think most people thought very highly of. And then, of course, his flat earth, square earth thing and all the rest. And now this thing about how he doesn't talk to pawns. What's going on with Kyrie Irving, and can we take him seriously?
Yeah, one of the teams I cover specifically is the Boston Celtics, and in 2 years with the Celtics, I can tell you there was no player that I've covered that's been more exhausting than Kyrie Irving was to cover. Now, I try to consciously separate Kyrie Irving as the basketball player and Kyrie Irving as the person, and I know, sometimes we get where people say you can't do that, that's not fair. And then there's other times when the players want, they welcome that. It's judge me about what I do on the court, but that doesn't, that's not the only person I am. I think Kyrie, the basketball player, is one of the most fun and one of the smartest players I have ever covered or watched. The things he can do at his size are absolutely remarkable. I think he's got one of the best handles we've ever seen in the history of the game. His ability to score and pass and set guys up is just great. Kyrie, when you can get him to talk about basketball, he'll give you an education. This guy is, up there with the smartest people, again, that I've ever covered. The challenge is getting him to talk about that. We had, multiple occasions, where we asked him things about, hey, what was that pick and roll coverage you were seeing? And that turned into a discourse on economic inequality in the world. And then you would ask him about, something that he had said previously that was not basketball related, and you'd get can we just talk about basketball? So it's just, it's tough, and I understand what he's saying, where he doesn't like how his words are twisted. But I shared a story from when Kevin Garnett's second run with the Minnesota Timberwolves, when he was in the locker room, there was a young player who was complaining about, I was in the locker room. The young player was saying, I don't want to talk to the media anymore. They always twist my words. And before he officially got started, he said, I just, I don't like talking to you guys because you never really get what I'm trying to say. And from the other side of the room, Kevin Garnett yelled out, stop saying dumb stuff. He didn't say stuff. He said something else.
Yeah.
And they'll stop reporting all the dumb stuff you say. So, that's where I kind of leave it to, if you don't want your words twisted, then just answer the questions, up front and honestly, and, make it about basketball then. And I think everything, would be a little bit more fine. But I'm also, I don't agree with shut up and dribble. So, it's hard. I just think Kyrie's a complicated guy, and it's hard to, grasp what he's trying to say sometimes.
Yeah, and for Kyrie Irving and for Kevin Durant, they have a lot of pressure on them to try to win a championship independent of the teams they've already won one with. Kevin Durant with the super team with the Warriors, and Kyrie Irving with LeBron James, arguably one of the top 3 or 4 players of all time and the greatest player currently playing in the league. So that puts pressure on Steve Nash. Is he ready for that? And especially if we get back to old times and real coverage with that New York media, Keith.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the storylines to watch all year because, Durant and Irving, those are in some ways, as long as they're both healthy, those are the easy parts of Steve Nash's job. Plug them in and let them do their thing. They're both great players. No coach is going to try to make them be something that they aren't. Then it gets hard, though, for him. That team, as they were kind of coming up the ascendancy in the NBA, you had guys like Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Karis LeVert grow into, really good players, near all-star level guys themselves. And the challenge is, when you have a lot of depth in the NBA, it initially sounds like it's great, and it looks like one of those things where everybody would kill to have, all these great players on their roster and all those things. But you hit a point where you can go from not enough depth to too much depth very, very quickly. And one of the things that's going to happen with Steve Nash, he already referenced it with Karis LeVert, of he may not be able to start on that team. And, maybe he has to play the Manu Ginobili role for us. But, I always looked at it as Manu just didn't start games. He knew he was still going to be out there for nearly 30 minutes a night. He was going to be on the floor at the end of the game. I don't know how you shoehorn Karis LeVert, onto the floor when everybody is healthy because they've got so much depth and talent. And that means Steve Nash, as a first-year head coach, is going to have a lot of difficult conversations. Now, he's got Mike D'Antoni, who's been through all of this before on his staff, and guys who can help him. Nash does have, the respect of those guys because of his playing career, but it is going to be something to monitor because that can go sideways on you real quick when somebody thinks, I should be getting more minutes, I should be getting more shots, I have a contract that's due, I'm young in the game, I haven't been paid yet. That's something, that can, really turn on you quickly, despite how good it may look on paper right now.
Since you named Mike D'Antoni, please explain to me what his deal was. It sure appears he could have stayed at Houston if he wanted to. He left, and there were rumors that he would get certain jobs like the Clippers or like the Sixers. That didn't work out. I was shocked when he took this assistant's position with Steve Nash. What really do you think happened with D'Antoni?
Yeah, I think what ultimately happened there was why he left Houston is I think he, Daryl Morey, and clearly now Russell Westbrook and James Harden kind of saw some of the writing on the wall there of, hey, this is starting, we've probably taken this as far as it can go. It's going to start breaking up, and it's time for us to all head off in our own directions, and that's already, undergoing there. And I think for D'Antoni, it was, I've done what I'm going to do here. Now it's time to move on. The other jobs, when I think you look at some of the other jobs, there weren't a lot of places where he was going to be a great fit because, when you bring in Mike D'Antoni, there's going to be a couple things that are going to happen. You're going to play small, and you're going to play a very short rotation. And if you look at the Clippers, they had the pieces that they could have played small and been pretty good, but playing a short rotation, maybe only 8 guys a night, and those guys all play 35 to 40 minutes a night, that wasn't going to work with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and some of their veterans that they need to be spotted a little bit more. Then other teams went with, younger, cheaper, up-and-coming options instead, so I think that became something that was a little bit different. I think for Mike D'Antoni, it was, I could take a year off and I could sit this out, or I could go help my guy, Steve Nash, who we're kind of inextricably linked to each other from now on, I can go help him out in his first job. And I think Mike D'Antoni looks at it as he loves the game. He wants to be around the guys. And that's why, he chose that direction of being an assistant with, one of his, best players he's ever coached.
You bring up an interesting point, though. With the way D'Antoni plays, I would think players would love that. If you were to say, of course, if you weren't in that rotation, you wouldn't like it. But if you're a guy and every night you're going to play 30 to 35 minutes as part of a rotation, you're going to get in, I think you would love that. You would want to go play for that guy.
But it doesn't win in the end.
That's always been the question is, can it win? Can they, keep guys, healthy? Can they be rested enough to win? When it kind of comes down to it, and that's always been the criticism. That was the criticism with those Suns teams that they might have flamed out earlier than I think anybody thought they were going to because guys got hurt and guys weren't rested at the end. That was a criticism of those Rockets teams. So that's definitely a concern. But yeah, I'm with you. I think there are a lot of guys who want to do that, but I think there are definitely some teams where that just wasn't going to be a fit, knowing what those guys are facing and what they're going through.
Keith, are you old enough to remember from the NFL Don Coryell, Air Coryell with the Chargers?
It's a little bit before my time, but I know the history of it. Yeah, put up great stats, but never win when it counts.
Dan Fouts was the quarterback, right?
That's
exactly.
Mike D'Antoni.
Yeah, that seems to be. That does seem to be. Keith Smith, happy holidays
Thank
to
you, man.
your family. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. You all stay safe, you and yours. Have a great holiday season.
Thank you.
Keith Smith down in Orlando, who writes NBA and articulates it so well for us from down in Orlando. How many I know we're going to do this probably before the regular season starts here, but it's starting next week. So how many W's you think out of the 72? What's the over-under for Brett Norsworthy on the Grizzlies?
I'm around 500. Let me go 100.
500?
35 up, 37 down. That equals 72, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Help me. Went to public school. Yeah, 35.
35 and 37 would be 72.
35 and 37. 200, yeah, 200. 35, 37, and end of the season tournament easily.
Drew?
Right around 500. I'll go on the north side of 500 by one game, so just not that much different. I'll go 37-35.
Wow.
All right, Dave. This is simple. Then you got to take 36.
Split the difference.
We got it.
No, I'm not going to do that because I think they'll win about 30 games. I think they'll be 30 and 42.
Well, that's in nothing.
That Western Division,
it's brutal.
Is a killer.
It's for keeps.
And even if they're better, they absolutely could not have as good a record because that Western Conference has gotten that much better.
What's the number?
And
what's the number?
You still don't know if Justice Winslow can play.
That's right.
And as Ron Tillery absolutely stated to us, beautifully, by the way, Zach Kleiman's rep is on the line with that because they've given up a lot for this one guy who's never really played.
Because as Ron stated, and he did it, I thought, in very nice diplomacy terms. He didn't draft Jaren. About anybody running the team would have taken Ja.
No question about that.
There have been some other pieces, D'Anthony Mel, and other pieces that have worked. No question. Emergence of Brooks. Some things have conspired right. But he's all in on Winslow. All right, without any more injury, we know starting the injury with Jaren, and we know the Winslow injury continuing. What's the certified disaster win number for the Grizzlies?
20.
Drew?
24.
And I bring this up, and I know we're up against it, but I bring this up because if it's that with no injury, with almost no excuses, and usually if you have that certified disaster, you've got excuses to go with it. The Grizzlies won't get the battering that the Tigers have gotten the last 2 days, before the Tulane game and the day after the Tulane game.
If they win only 20 games, they will get battered.
No, they won't.
I promise you
it'll
that.
Be Grizz
Guess
fam.
What? We'll see it.
Love you, Bill Street Blue. We're building for the future. We've got everything. Look, when you have your own media arm you can kind of tell it how you want it told.
Well, you can disseminate when the information comes out, and you can kind of paint it. But there are still 2 newspapers, several talk shows, 3 television affiliates,
and they've been
4 really.
And they've been how critical on the Grizzlies through the years?
They have been fairly kind. There have been some that have
Dave,
that
fairly.
have
Come
come
on
out.
now.
Come on,
come on, Nat. Fairly. It's been writing the press releases for them.
It is now to the point where they're going to have to put up. And look, you don't think Chandler Parsons got bashed?
No, the front office got bashed.
I think they both got bashed.
It was Chandler, get well soon. Hope you're having fun.
No, I think there were plenty of people that were really mad when he was Instagramming pictures in Cancun. Come on. They've been criticized. Tigers have been criticized a little bit more. I think that's fair. Absolutely.
Dave, a little bit.
This portion of the show, in fact, this hour of the show, is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch and Genesis of Olive Branch. Same building right there at Craft Road and Highway 78. And this is the place that has raised the bar for the way car business should be done. And I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to go down and see it. I want you to see the brand new Genesis SUV, that GV80. Can't wait to see it myself. They had it for a little bit, and they got sold out. That's how good that car is. All these cars are good. You know, the Hyundais tied for the top safety pick vehicles in all of the world in 2020, and the 2021s are even better. And, of course, they're all on the lot now. Special financing on the G70 with 0% financing, some for 72 months, some for 60 months. It's affordable. The best performing car that I have ever had, a G70, is really affordable right now. Please go see my guys from Chris True, who runs the company, and his team of 13 years, or the newest guy on the block, Vincent Gerard, who's over all of the Genesis cars. It'll wow you. Please go see what I'm talking about. Get on Lamar into Mississippi and turn to Craft Road. You'll love what you see at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We take a break. When we come back, it'll be time to talk NFL with our good friend Russell Copeland. This is Sports Time on Sports 56.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio. We are Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops this holiday season for the hottest gifts from TaylorMade. The Sim Shape and Motion series featuring the Sim, Sim Max, and Sim Max D-type families. Find increased speed and distance with Sim. And be sure to stock up and save on TaylorMade TP5 and TP5X golf balls, now only $39.99. Come into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, your holiday headquarters since 1968, and shop online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Are you looking for a dependable car at a fair price and guaranteed financing approval? Then you need to make your way to Collierville Auto Center, where one price shopping is the name of the game. Family owned and operated, Collierville Auto Center has been in the business for over 20 years and is proud to serve the people of this area. Collierville Auto Center is stocked with over 50 units, including cars, trucks, SUVs, and Highlines. Looking for a particular type of vehicle? Collierville Auto Center offers a locator service with 72-hour turnaround service. With over 30 years in the automotive industry, industry, Scott Martin would be happy to show you how their affordable pricing and guaranteed financing can work for you. Come see Scott and his professional staff of Terry, Branson, Q for your car needs. Conveniently located at 651 West Poplar Avenue, Collierville Auto Center is situated where Highway 72 meets Poplar and Collierville. Please look them up on the web at colliervilleautocenter.com. Call at 901-853-0240 or simply come and see them for an outstanding car buying experience. At Collierville Auto Center, they're here for you.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome in. Always one of my favorite times of the week when we get to chat with my good friend Russell Copeland. And I know we're going to talk some NFL, Brett. Just sort of work with me here. Because I got to ask my man Russell Copeland about the Tigers and about Florida Atlantic in the game that we will be doing together. Next Wednesday, that's right. A week from yesterday, we will be at this very historic bowl in Montgomery, Alabama, watching Memphis and Florida Atlantic.
Tigers big favorites.
Did you say 11 points now?
Yes.
Didn't that open at 8.5?
It's 11 now.
So the money is going on the U of M. Russell Copeland, I know you've taken a little look already. I have too. What do you think?
Well, Dave, I think, first of all, I think Ryan Silverfield has done a tremendous job with COVID-19 and having the players able and available to play, especially with all the opt-outs and that sort. I think the Tigers have a great opportunity to go 8-3. I think they should be favored. The biggest thing for me is the mental aspect of the game. It's not even really X's and O's. I think it's towards the end of the season. Christmas is coming up. So I think the biggest job for me with Ryan Silverfield and his coaching staff is get these players ready to play so they mind, do not wonder, and get them to relax, but also go out and play the type of game that they should play, because history shows that sometimes they play to the level of their opponent.
I just don't know that FAU can generate a lot of points. Howard Snellenberger and Rusty Smith are not walking through that door. That was the quarterback coaching tandem the time I saw the Tigers and FAU play. I went to the bad New Orleans Bowl, not to the good one, Russell. But look, all year they've had trouble generating points, and they even lost to Southern Miss that kind of had one leg out the door all year. You're right about motivation, though, in these bowl games. The checkout factor, it's human nature for any side. You get behind early, what time's that bus leave? What time do we get home for the holidays? That could set in for a lot of teams.
Absolutely, guys. And Dave, we have witnessed firsthand, playing against a Navy football team that was not the same type of Navy team, especially at the quarterback position. And I thought it was an opportunity for the Tigers to go into that game and really exploit that football team, and they simply did not do so. And as I have said, the Tigers have done a tremendous job of winning despite everything that has went on. But history shows sometimes the Tigers do not get off to a fast start, and they do not play, as they should play. So if the Tigers can get out to a good start and play this football game and relax and not have a lot of mental mistakes and turn the football over, I think they can win this football game with 2 touchdowns. But if not, if they let the game drag on and let this football team get confidence, then it could be a game that goes to the wire. I think the Tigers win, but it really depends on the mental aspect and how the Tigers jump out of the gate.
2 quick thoughts on what you've just said. You hit it on the head. You and I have talked about this on the air. Memphis tends to play down to the level of whoever they are playing. If it's a great team like UCF, they play to that level. If it's a bad team like even Stephen F. Austin that they struggle with until the end of the third quarter, they play at that level. So that worries you a little bit, because they should be able, at least on paper, to dominate Florida Atlantic. But here's the thing I like about this team. Their resiliency, their fight. In every win, they've come from behind. And they have won 4 of the 5 games that have been decided by 3 points or less. This is a team that wants to win and figures out a way to do it.
This is a football team, and that goes back to me when I say Ryan Silverfield. He has gotten this football team to play. When you're playing against a team such as this that you are favored, you have to let this football team know that we are the better team and make this football team quit. You cannot allow a football team such as this to stay into the football game. But I just feel like the way the Tigers start this game will be very important. If they can come out of the gate and start the game, then I think it will be a roller coaster ride for them. If they let the game linger on, get some mental mistakes, get some turnovers, and this football team stays in the game, I think it goes to the wire. But I think Ryan Silverfield, Dave, will have this football team ready to go and end it on a great note. Being 8-3 would be tremendous for him. I like the Tigers to win this football game.
And 8-3's got a special ring to it in this challenging year. Russell, you played in the days where a lot of teams just played 11 games. We remember that well. And for the Tigers to start a different bowl trend, this is a good opportunity to do that.
It definitely is, and as listen to the fans. I think the fans have gotten spoiled. But in his first year, when you compare him to Mike Norvell, he's right there with Mike Norvell, and he's been able to do some things that has not been done. That's beating UCF and also beating Navy on the road. But I just think when you only have 53 guys that are available to play, when you're playing against teams that have 80 to 90, that's very difficult. And then to have a group of players that want to be with your program, that believes in what you're trying to do, that's tremendous of what he's been able to do, 7-3, and I think he can go to 8-3.
Let's get to the NFL, and I got to tell you, when I think about the Buffalo Bills and pass combinations, I think Kelly to Copeland. That's what comes to my mind. But now I got to think this thing over again. All of a sudden, this Josh Allen to Stefon Diggs. Wow, what a combination.
And for Diggs to go to Buffalo free agency, Russell, that sometimes that's a tough sell.
Well, I tell you what, Dave. Thanks for the compliment, but really, we know that it was Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Don Beebe, James Lofton, and I was a part of that. But free agency, the most important thing when you go into free agency for a player is he wants to be able to get the value. But for a team, they not only believe that this individual can help them on the field, but also be a great locker room. And I think Stefon Diggs had a lot of issues, and what I'm hearing out of Buffalo that he has been nothing but tremendous. He's helped the other receivers, and he has helped Josh Allen. And what I like about the Buffalo Bills franchise is that they picked Josh Allen to be the franchise quarterback. And what they have done, they have put weapons around him. They have given him an offensive line. He has weapons from the tight end position to 3 wide receivers. And I think for him, he has not made those mistakes that a young quarterback makes. He knows when to run. He knows when to throw the football away. He lives for another down. And when the big play presents itself, he's not throwing interception. He's completing those. And my hat goes off because it's been a long time since the Buffalo Bills has been in this position. New England Patriots have had a chokehold on this division. And I said before the season, the AFC East will be won by the Buffalo Bills, and they've done a tremendous job, guys.
Yeah, really commendable to break that long streak. You mentioned the tight end, Dawson Knox from Ole Miss. It was grossly underused at Ole Miss, why they didn't throw to him more. Oh, now they had some good options in AJ and DK, but they're not open every play. Let's go back to your tight end. You rattled through the wide receivers you played with. For a guy, if he was playing now, I mean, really, Dawson Knox reminds me a lot of Pete Metzelaars.
Pete Metzelaars was a basketball player, 6'6", type of guy.
Very athletic.
Great in the red area. And we also had McKellar. McKellar was that speed type of H-back type of tight end. So, that Buffalo Bills team, when you look at it, it reminds you of that team. But from a talent standpoint, it's not even close when you look at the Hall of Famers from offense and the Hall of Famers on defense. It's not close. But when you look
up
at
top with Marv Levy.
Absolutely. But I am pleased and how this football team is playing and the maturation of Josh Allen. And I think if he can continue and not let the big bright lights of the playoffs affect him, this team here has a chance, if matched up, to play well against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Who was your GM?
Butler.
John Butler.
John Butler was the GM. Yeah. And he passed away some years shortly after I left. But just outstanding. That organization was a great organization.
Yeah, it really was. I am not sure they wouldn't be the best team in the NFC, but with Pittsburgh and Kansas City It's tough.
Tough.
I think they may be the third best team in the American Football Conference. Your thoughts on that one?
Well, when you look at the best teams in the AFC, I have to put the Bills at number 2, and the reason is they are ascending. And we talked about Buffalo, but when I look at Pittsburgh, they have had a lot of injuries on defense, and to me, they have an aging quarterback that can't move around in the pocket anymore. He doesn't have an arm strength to throw the football, so their offense is pedestrian. They can't get a running game. So they were winning games from their defense, and they have lost Bud Dupree. So they've lost something on defense, and right now they're descending. They're not playing good football right now. Mike Tomlinson has to get this football team able to run the football, and right now they're one-dimensional. They drop back, they throw easy passes, quick passes, and their wide receivers lead the league in drops. To me, they're not the number 2 team. It's the Buffalo Bills.
Are they going to kill Cincinnati this week, though?
I think it's a bounce back, but when I'm looking at the playoffs, guys, there's a lot of trap games, and this is one of those trap games. I think they bounce back against Cincinnati. They have a backup quarterback. They are rebuilding there in Cincinnati, but I'm not going to take a whole lot from this game. They should, beat the Cincinnati Bengals, but I'm looking at how they're going to finish the season, especially the last game when they play against the Browns, because that's another football team that is ascending.
Sunday at noon, really good game. Seattle cross-country trip to our nation's capital to play Washington. I think Washington would be a tough out as the champion of the NFC East, as the 4 seed. They in the second round, or in the first round, they would get what it would be. They'd get the 5, but they would be at home playing the 5.
Are you giving me a Jimmy Johnson thing here?
No, I didn't say win the Super Bowl like Jimmy Johnson did. I just said tough out.
Okay.
Well, Washington has played tremendous, and what I love about Washington is that they have the identity of Ron Rivera. He's went through a lot of things with cancer. He's a tough-minded coach, and players love to play for him. But I think the biggest difference has been Alex Smith, and what a amazing story for him to be able to come back. But I think for them to win football games, he gives them the best chance. Haskins may play. I know Smith is having some injuries, but losing Gibson, he has a turf toe. He's not playing. I love the way they play offensive defense. They have some young guys that have some dog in them. They like to play. They got some older dogs. Go out and they play very hard. They play resilient. They play tough. But I think Seattle is the better team overall, especially if Alex Smith can't play. You don't have Gibson. They have a 3-headed monster. They can get after the passer. They've got a great defensive line. The young rookie, Chase Young, is playing outstanding. Deron Payne is playing great. Sweat is getting after the passer. But give me Russell Wilson. Give me the Seattle Seahawks to win that game. And, guys, what that does in the NFC East, as terrible as it is, every team is still alive. Every team is still alive. So if the Washington football team loses this game, then now you have to look at, can the Cowboys, can the Eagles, and can the Giants move up to first place?
You mentioned Rivera. I'm going to throw in your guy, Sean McDermott. Maybe there's somebody else out there. Who's the coach of the year in the NFL? Alex Smith is the comeback player, no doubt. Who's the coach of the year?
Well, I was leaning, toward Pittsburgh, being 11-0. And I'm still going to lean that way, but they've lost a couple of games. McDermott definitely is in there. But I just think the job that has been done with the Pittsburgh Steelers has just been phenomenal. So, I'm still going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers are leading in that category.
Mike Tomlin, huh? Even though you just put Buffalo in front of them, you're going that way. That's interesting.
Well, when you look at it, it's a team sport, and the Buffalo Bills have been coming, and Sean McDermott was the coach of the year last year.
Playoffs,
So when I look at what the Pittsburgh Steelers have been able to do, and last year the coaching job that he was able to do, now you're coming back with your quarterback being injured, and to go 11-0, coming back with a lot of different question marks, dealing with losing Antonio Brown, dealing with losing Le'Veon Bell, and now having this football team to play. Mike Tomlinson has done an outstanding job. That's why the Pittsburgh Steelers do not hire a lot of coaches when you look at them after the 1960s. They keep their coaching, and I'll go with Mike Tomlinson.
3 coaches since Bill Austin 3 coaches.
That's
Noel,
amazing.
Cowher, Tomlin. That's incredible, isn't it?
That is. And that's smart. I think it's really smart. As long as you identify the right guy that you want, then you got to stay with him.
Tennessee Vols have had 3 coaches in the last 10 minutes.
And absolutely. And, you talk about coaches, we can talk about the Dallas Cowboys when you look at what they were able to do with Jimmy Johnson in the 90s, and then you had Tuna.
And had Landry before it.
Yeah, and when you look at Switzer,
and they got Switzer right after that.
Name. Yeah, I don't throw Swisher's name as much in there because I think he inherited 10, but still, he was a solid coach. But since then, you look at all the coaches, and you look at now, when you look at Mike McCarthy, here's a guy that has won a Super Bowl, and they're not even 500. So getting a coach, not only a coach that can win football games, but how does he mesh with your owner, and how does he mesh with the players? Do the players understand his philosophy and will they play for him? I think that's important. That's why I think the Steelers, when you look at it, Mike Tomlinson has done a tremendous job.
Seattle did it with Pete Carroll.
They
got the right guy.
Absolutely.
No doubt. Russell, happy holidays, my friend. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Tuesday evening in Montgomery.
Looking forward to it. Safe travels. I'll see you Tuesday.
You too.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Russell.
That is our man, Russell Copeland, on the National Football League, and a whole lot more.
The clock is ticking. You can still get the bird from the commissary for this next round of holidays. You better load up on 2 birds. Make sure, for sure to have one, though, you can order online at commissarybarbecue.com or call 754-5540 or stop by either place. The new Collierville Commissary, 2 years old, coming up in February at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, are the original in Germantown, Memphis-style barbecue and ribs. Authentic Memphis-style slow. That's what makes it Memphis. Begin that barbecue feast with those appetizers like that cheese plate or the tamales or the nachos, where they originated in the early 80s at the original commissary in Germantown. Smoked chicken wings, fantastic. But still time for the bird. Order it at 754-5540 or online at commissarybarbecue.com in Collierville and Germantown. Save room for dessert. You can get those to go and entertain. You can even fib to the people that come by your house and say, yeah, we did those lemon ice box pie, but we know who really did it, and it's the best lemon ice box pie anywhere. The banana pudding, outstanding. It's all outstanding. We talked about the tamales. We talked about all the appetizers, but don't forget the barbecue. Dig into the ribs or the shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich, big sandwich, or get it to go from either place or online at commissarybarbecue.com.
That bird is something special. Back in a minute, we put a wrap on the second hour on this Thursday of Sports Time.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
If ever there was a time for comfort food, this is it. And there's no comfort food like Sunrise on Jefferson. Fresh-made breakfast featuring Sunrise's signature homemade square biscuits or the huge selection of hot, fresh, and fast lunch items are all part of what has always made Sunrise the most comforting of comfort foods in Memphis. Of course, everything that can be done to keep you and the staff safe at Sunrise is a top priority. And you can always order ahead and get delicious Sunrise to go. At a time this confusing, it's good to know there's one thing you can count on: Sunrise.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One with a Thursday night football preview sponsored by Prilosec. Treat your frequent heartburn with Prilosec OTC. Coming up, AFC West action as rookie quarterback Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers travel to Las Vegas to face veteran Derek Carr and the Raiders. Chargers are coming off a down-to-the-wire win over the Falcons. Herbert says this year's close games, wins, and losses have been valuable.
Experience is the best teacher, and being out there and learning and going through it, and as hard as it may be, you get better from it, and you say, oh, well, I can't throw the ball over the middle, and when we watch the film, we'll see that, and I can't make those mistakes.
The Raiders dropped to 7-6 last week with a loss to the Colts. Ryan Rackey and Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner will call the action from Las Vegas on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Hey, frequent heartburn may keep you from running your A game, but it doesn't have to anymore. Join the Prilosec OTC 2-week challenge. Just go to prilosecotc.com. You'll get $3 off to get you started, plus 14 days of tips, tricks, and reminders. Just 2 weeks, zero heartburn. Go to prilosecotc.com and sign up today. Zero heartburn is possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Taking on that next oil change yourself is a great idea. We can help you get started. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge full synthetic motor oil and an STP extended life oil filter for just $31.99. You can even get it all fast your way with our next day delivery or free same-day store pickup. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in as we cruise through our second hour. It's brought to you in part by Sheldon Rosengarten, Mark Spensdorf, who promised his clients he'll advertise their homes on this show. So here we go. Palisade near the U of M. Well, that's sold. South Yates, Rich Road, Thornridge Cove, all in East Memphis. Those all sold. Wind Shadow in Southwind. That was a seller. Hunter's Hollow and Cape Charles Cove. Sold. And by the way, they all sold recently within just a very few days. How does he do it? He's great. And he does the 3 Ps, preparation, presentation, proper pricing. And his highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option, well, that's why people say when you want the job done, you call Sheldon. Sheldon Rosengarten. He says you should talk to 2 or 3 real estate brokers. Make sure, though, he's one of them. And you can reach him very easily at 483-0546 or go to the website at memphisrelocate.com. The number again, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Remember, when you want your home sold, when you want it done, you call Sheldon. We got some breaking news from Ole Miss, and it's really not good news.
No, it's not good news for Saturday, but you can understand it from his perspective. Elijah Moore, it's done. He's done at Ole Miss. He's not going to play Saturday against LSU. He tweeted out the information about a half hour ago. He's not going to risk it on Saturday. He's going to prepare for the NFL draft. I think there is definitely a spot for him in the NFL. If Cole Beasley can play slot receiver, I think Elijah Moore's got a spot in the NFL for sure. Me too. And Saturday, he was probably going to become the all-time single-season reception yardage leader for a single season for 1 year in 9 games. In 9 games. He's not going to do that. I don't blame him. No animus at all from me toward him. Thank you is all I have to say. And there's a time in everybody's life that you got to look out for yourself. I think he is, and I think it's a wise. It's a decision that he's making very prudently and should. He's got to take care of himself. Ole Miss has only played 2 games since Halloween.
Yeah.
2 games since Halloween. And he performed mightily in both of those and wins over South Carolina and Mississippi State. I think he's shown enough, and I think he should be fondly remembered.
You know what? He's leaving a rivalry game, and he's leaving a bowl game out on the table. This is a different year, but I fear with all of our attention, all of our focus on the playoffs, trying to get the playoffs expanded, that we are going to see, as time goes on, more and more of the bigger name players, the better players who have a chance to make the National Football League, that they are going to opt out of bowl games. If I were the Steve Earharts of the world, that would be of concern to me. I don't know what the answer is to it. The bowl's still going to happen. It's still going to be great for the sophomores and the seniors that aren't going to the NFL. But clearly,
for a lot of people,
and more,
I'm out of here.
The trend is going to be.
Dave, the virus and the focus on everything you just enunciated, it may be the purge going forward for the bowl season that honestly we needed.
Well, I will tell you it's going to happen at some other point, too. There's going to be a superstar like a running back who risks up against a really good defense.
What if someone in the playoffs did it?
That's where I'm going. There's going to be a time where a star is going to
Like
opt
Jay
out
Harris
of
said,
the playoffs.
I just can't take another hit to the shoulder.
I know. I'm worried that will happen, too.
I got generational money awaiting me. Y'all spend your money the way you want to. I'm going to spend mine the way I need to.
That may happen sooner or later. This is a story I'm reading on Twitter. I believe it to be correct, and it is basically gazing at the future. Jonathan Lawson, son of Keelan Lawson, correct? Who is the head basketball coach at Wooddale. He is transferring and will be suiting up for the Houston High School basketball team, which is a super team. That team probably won't lose a game in the state of Tennessee this year.
Could they beat East?
But you know what it says? It says very clearly, East not going to play.
I was joking from a few years ago when the clowns were saying East would beat Memphis.
Wooddale, all those great public schools are not going to play, or the kid would not transfer from his own father's school. This final portion of hour number 2 is brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows what a big decision it is. You're renovating with all the newest amenities. That's renovation with innovation. Or you're building that dream home, or you're looking for some sort of development that is just going to knock your socks off, and he's got everything. He's got this new development that's a Boyle community, gated, called a Leylon. He's got land if you need it, but if you have land, you're not sure what to do with it. He knows. He and his dad, 50 years, 2 generations of building palaces. Go see for yourself. Go to kengarland.com and then call and ask him about whatever's on your mind, whether that's that renovation or building the dream home. 751-1632. He's fun to talk to. He's a rare individual. Sees little details and big picture all at once. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders, is standing by and ready to build your dream. Please contact him. You'll love it. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. 2 hours in the books. When we come back, it'll be time to talk some Tigers. We'll do that momentarily as you listen to Sports Time on Sports 56.
Cold and flu season's here. It's time to make sure your family's stocked up on the products you'll need if somebody gets sick. Pick up the new Vicks DayQuil and NyQuil Severe, honey, cold, and flu medicines during your next grocery trip. DayQuil and NyQuil Severe Honey are a max-strength medicine with a great-tasting honey flavor, also available for sale at online retailers. DayQuil NyQuil Severe Honey provides max-strength cold and flu symptom relief for your worst cold and flu symptoms in a soothing honey flavor. Use as directed.
All 75 months at 3.4%. G4 LHF 129.69. MSRP 17,064. Outlander LZO 423.83. MSRP 26,235. PEV LZO 388.19. MSRP 38.1. Outlander PEV qualifies for a $5,836 federal tax credit. Consult your tax advisor. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax filing license with approved credit. CD for complete details. Offer ends 12/31/2020. Dealer stock only.
Where can you find 0% APR for 60 months? Plus up to $1,000 cash back on 2020 crossovers. Plus $500 holiday cash. Plus payments at $99 a month. We gossip at Gossip Mitsubishi on the Pike during the 2020 year-end sales event. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage
G4. Buy for $11,749 or $99 a month. 2020 Outlander, $20,571 or $259 a month. Plus, crossover with 4x4 off-road capabilities with 74 mpg. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid EV, $25,099 or $299 a month. Not leases, you own them. And Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Spend the holidays at home this year with a little help from Family Leisure. Family Leisure has so many spas on order. Now's your time to really save big. Huge savings on pool tables, game tables, arcades, massage chairs, and a whole lot more. Buy a pool now and save the 2021 price increase. Plus, you'll get early installation scheduling. The Holidays at Home sale happening now at Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun come together for the holidays.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Greg Gaston talking Tigers with us momentarily. Look, Thursday night football, it's going to be fun tonight, and no one does football like FanDuel Sportsbook. All season long, FanDuel, they've been bringing you exclusive offers for the best games on the weekly slate, and this week, here is something you don't want to miss. New users, you can bet $5 to win $75 on Justin Herbert to throw one or more TDs against the Vegas Raiders tonight. You heard that right. $5 to win $75 plus $1,500 on the rookie from Oregon, Justin Herbert, to throw one or more touchdowns tonight in this matchup of old AFL teams. I bet back in the day in the AFL, they never thought they'd be playing in Vegas, and they are. And $5 to win you $75. That's what FanDuel's offering tonight. And with FanDuel Sportsbook, incredible odds promotions are just the beginning. They've got a simple app, live betting on every game, exhilarating bet types such as same-game parlays where you combine multiple bets from one game into a single parlay and you win big. And once you win big on FanDuel Sportsbook, they get you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. The turnaround is fast. So if you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what in the heck are you waiting for? It's time to get off the sidelines, get on the field, and place that bet. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and use promo code CASH to make your first deposit to claim your exclusive odds boost for tonight. That's promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. Final hour of our show every day brought to you by the great people down on Goodman Road at DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road, and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area, and they know that we live in a world today that time really matters, and that's why they want you to have the ultimate car experience, because they care about your time. You walk in within 45 minutes, test drive that car, get credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in less than an hour, 45 minutes to be exact, in time to do it over your busy lunch hour or immediately after work. Every make, every model, and if it's not on the lot at DeSoto Auto Sales, they'll go out and find it for you. No shortcuts taken. You're treated like family by kind, courteous employees in that laid-back, down-home environment. No high-pressure sales at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. 662-890-7184. Come on down for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
We just found out from Scott Van Pelt himself, who tweets he won't be doing any shows for a bit after a positive COVID test. Thankfully, no fever, feels fine, just can't smell or taste anything, which was the clue to go get a test. It's there. We know that. All 15 of the Houston basketball players have now tested positive for COVID, and many members, including the Sampsons, both Kelvin and his son, have had the COVID. Time to talk some Tigers with Greg Gaston from the Tigers sideline, brought to you by Rule Smith. That's the Remax Realtor, who is a new sponsor. We are so happy to have him on board with us. Presto Shutters, the law offices of Stephen Leffler. And, of course, we have so many, like Southland Casino, ready to welcome you back with blackjack and craps, roulette, slots, all rolling. And sportsbook betting, they've reopened. The most spacious casino floor in the Mid-South is ready to welcome you back with blackjack, roulette, craps, and all of your favorite slots. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and make the short drive to Southland. They are ready for you. We are ready for Greg Gaston on a number of subjects. But first, before we get to football, and I know you'll be on the sidelines in the game in Montgomery against Florida Atlantic. Let's start with the Tigers from last night a little bit and your sense of where the Tigers are at after the win on the road, although it didn't cover the win on the road in New Orleans.
Well, first of all, good afternoon, guys. And look, they have a ways to go. You know it. Brett knows it. Everybody knows it. They got a ways to go. They still made those mistakes. They still missed free throws. They still turned the ball over. But I think we all got a shot in the arm. I'm certain that Penny Hardaway got a shot in the arm from what DeAndre Williams did in his 17 minutes. He came in with energy. He's got a motor. I like what he can do. The follow jam, that's the way to inaugurate yourself back into to playing college basketball after a long layoff.
Moment of the year so far. That was the play of the year so far for the Tigers.
I agree.
Isn't that crazy? One play, he's the player of the year. But he did give them new life. And it seemed like it was contagious there for a while, and then it started to fade again. Give Tulane credit, they came back. But this is a bad Tulane team. They're picked 11th. Ron Hunter's a good coach, and he'll have his guys playing well or as well as they can, but they're going to lose a lot of basketball games. So, yeah, there were some signs. I like what DeAndre Williams brought to the table. Lester Quinones, easily his best game of the year by far. So there were good moments. DJ had his first double-double, but they still have to continue to find a way to protect the basketball, to avoid the treachery of just missing free throw after free throw, although give credit to Jaden Hardaway, who came in and knocked down 4 out of 4 down the stretch. And with Penny, it's still trying to find that proper rotation. He continues to just mix and match lineups. It's a different five on the floor every 2 minutes. And I know he wants to play fast and all that stuff, but last night it was Tulane that was playing really fast and Memphis trying to keep up with them. So, yeah, I think there was a lot of things that still continue to haunt this team, but at least it was a win. It was a road win. And even though it's not a fan thing, it's still a road win. So that's the good news, and I just like what DeAndre Williams brought to the table last night.
All right, along those lines, if DeAndre Williams had been ruled eligible to play right off the bat, what would the Tigers' record be? It's 5-3 right now.
I think it would have been hard to beat Western Kentucky because the kid, what's his name, Bassie?
Yeah, inside.
He just dominated inside. So I don't know if Williams.
But DeAndre Williams probably would have fallen out of the game, but he would have battled a little bit better.
I think he's going to be good for 5 fouls.
Yeah, I think so too.
You beat me to the punch there, Waldo. I was going to say, yeah, he probably would have fouled out, but yeah, he would have brought a guy with certainly the ability to leap. He's got good vertical and can block some shots, but that kid was just dominant. So I don't know if they beat Western Kentucky. Maybe Virginia Commonwealth, they win that game. Auburn down the stretch.
Definitely.
Maybe Williams. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But Williams would have been there from the get-go. He'd be in a nice little groove going into that Auburn. I think they probably beat Auburn, at least win one, maybe 2 of those 3. I think Williams,
two. I think they'd be 7-1 right now, and we'd be going, this is a tournament team. It would have a different flow. But the one thing there is no making up for or excuse or hope around the corner is the point guard situation.
No.
And
there's no flow there, Greg.
On Twitter, you've got Alo who's talking about, he's praying for the ability to concentrate and things of this nature. And you've got an answer on Twitter right now from Quinones, who I am thinking maybe should be given a shot at point guard, who's saying we should be praying for, thanking God for giving all the gifts that we're giving. We're getting some messages here.
It's an interesting debate, isn't it?
I don't know Yeah.
Who knew we had to drag the Almighty into this one,
We're getting
Greg?
a theological Twitter debate here, or not debate, just two different cases being made by two Tiger players.
Billy Graham versus Pat Robertson here, Greg.
Different.
Who you got?
I'm not sure if they're mixed messages. They might be on the same lines, but look, I don't know. The point guard has been an issue. Could you imagine this team with Jeremiah Martin running the show? How well he played in that final year?
He lived at the rim.
Oh my gosh, that guy carried the team, but him with all these other weapons. But I look, they got to figure it out.
Greg, I take Courtney Trask at this point.
Courtney Trask, blast from the past. But I still think Ball in the long run will become a really competent point guard. I like his length. I think he could take the ball to the hole and finish. Lomax can't finish at the hole, but I'll give credit to Alex down the stretch last night. He made some good passes. He didn't turn the ball over. But we know that turnovers are still an issue. He gets himself into trouble by jumping up in the air and not knowing where to go. If he's not taking those bad shots, though, he can help a team. I still think he's a backup point guard. And then it just doesn't seem like they're going to give Boogie that chance to run the point, so that's not an answer. Quinones is interesting because he has the ball in his hand a lot, Dave. You called that game last night. You call every game, and he certainly had the ball in his hand an awful lot. So maybe that's a way to go. But look, Penny gets paid the big bucks, and that staff to figure it out. But they have to have a leader, a floor general, as they say, for this team to have success. If they don't, it's just a mishmash of guards. And in the NCAA tournament, if they get to the NCAA tournament, that will prove to be costly. You have to have consistency at that position.
Greg, at a Eddie Sutton basketball practice one day, and I know both of y'all know that the punchline in this, but a young Darrell Walker from Chicago, and he's trying to make him a point guard, and he did. He made him pretty good handling guard and played in the NBA, now coaching at ULR. But he kept leaving his feet, and Eddie Sutton stopped practice, and he said, "Darrell, son, quit leaving your feet unless you can fly."
Yeah, that's when you get yourself in trouble, right? You're up in the air, you're looking around at who to throw it to. Well, eventually you're going to come down. If you don't throw the ball, it's going to be a turnover.
You can't leave yourself with no option. And when you go to
You're
the
stuck.
air with nowhere to go, you have no option. And there were a couple of times that he did that last night. And look, I'm really not trying to be harsh on Alo because I think he's a wonderful young man. I really do. But as a junior, you can't be making those mistakes.
Mm-hmm. No, you have to be a leader. And you have the experience, yes, 2 years now under your belt. You're into year number 3. There's no excuse. There's no excuse either to say you're just a young team. Yeah, I know technically they're young. It's mostly underclassmen, right? So you have a young team, but they have experience now. Nolly has experience. DeAndre Williams has experience. All the guys on the team that were freshmen last year have a year under their belt.
Quinones,
Yeah, you can no longer use it as an excuse. Now, there are a couple of things. I really liked what Penny did last night, going later in that game small. He knew that it wasn't working with Musa in that up and down pace that they were playing, so he went with a smaller lineup. I thought that was key. Now, again, Penny can't go out there and shoot free throws for him and turn the ball over.
Or open jumpers.
Right, or knock down open jumpers. So that's not on Penny, but I liked strategically what he did last night. There are going to be games when it's a half-court game and you need Musa in there to alter shots, block shots, and then hopefully score at the rim. But when it's an up-and-down pace right now, I don't know if that's the guy or a center in general is a guy for that type of system, a Malcolm Dandridge, whoever. I would rather see Williams in there going with Nolly and Lester and a smaller team, and that's what Penny did. So I give Penny a lot of credit for last night.
Y'all help me out. Older player, DeAndre Williams, 24. Oldest Tiger player since Chris Massey?
Has to be.
Wow, that's
who's older? Who's older, Brady
know,
White or DeAndre Williams?
I have a debate. I have read that he's 23, and I've read that he's 24. I haven't seen a birth.
Doesn't matter.
A date on him.
I haven't heard officially, but the number that somebody had brought up was 24, and I'm thinking, my gosh,
Chris Massey was an old 24.
He was.
When Pastor was the head coach in Memphis, I don't think he was 24. Well,
but
he didn't look 24.
Bobby Knight was 24 as head coach at West Point.
Right, but the point is, if he's 24, there's the majority of the Grizzlies are younger than he is.
Yeah,
I mean that in his own right is crazy. And think of this. This is a free year, right? Every basketball player, just like the football players, are getting a free year. He could play
Drew,
college
he's not much
basketball
younger than you.
until he's 26 years of age. I mean, he really could. Have you looked up his birth date, DeAndre Williams?
I'm on GoTigersGo.com right now because I figured that'd be the easiest place to get it.
Probably a HIPAA violation.
They do not have his birthday.
Okay.
But I'll do my best to find it.
Okay. I mean, think about that. He could be playing college basketball at 26.
Try the veal, Greg. Try the veal.
So if they're worried about guys who are 20 when they draft them as being too old, whoo, that's a problem for DeAndre.
Well, that's not the worry of Memphis or Penny Hardaway. I mean, if that kid is talented enough to go to the NBA, it'll be a little bit tougher at that age. But if he's that good, they'll still look at him and give him a shot. But for Memphis, it could benefit the Tigers. Heck, if DeAndre Williams brings that energy like he did last night every game, I hope he'll be here for another
They
2
had
seasons.
to have that lift.
They needed that big time. They could have walked out of New Orleans with a loss last night if it wasn't for that energy
and the
of Williams.
conversations we'd be having. No, I don't want them.
No, and I know he missed the free throws, but look, that's the legs. He hasn't played in practice, but he hasn't played in the game, getting up and down. And he was 80% last year, so he'll be better.
That's exactly right. The guy shot 80% from the free throw line a year ago. He's not going to go 2 of 9 again. I'm certain.
Maybe that gym was too quiet.
You know
last
what?
night.
I asked him last night, and he was very, very articulate. By the way, spoke like a 24-year-old, very articulate. And I asked him if it was fatigue from playing for the first time in a game situation. He said, "Well, I don't think it's fatigue. I think it really was more nerves." He said, "But I'm not." He said, "Nerves and rust, and I'm not going to worry about it because I'm a good free throw shooter." And I said, "Well, I know that you shot 80% last year." So he thought it was more nerves than anything else. And Penny, before the game, I asked if he might start him. He goes, no, he's too nervous. He's going to be way too nervous for that.
Brett makes a good point, though, about a quiet gym. It could affect some players. When it's deadly quiet and you're at the free throw line, it's almost like the technical foul, right? It's like, it's so quiet. You're shooting a technical foul, and there's nobody on the line. So sometimes you succumb to that pressure of being all by yourself in the spotlight. But certainly I would think a lot of these guys, they play off the emotions of the fans and the noise. If there's no noise in there, that could affect you.
All right, let's switch gears. Let's talk some Tiger football and this football team, which really has this incredible resiliency about them. In 5 games this year that have been decided by 3 points or less, the Tigers are 4-1. In every win this year, they have had to come from behind. That's the good news. The bad news is against every team they've played, they have played down to the level or up to the level of the competition. They have really, unless you want to count Stephen F. Austin at the very end, because with 6 minutes left to go in the third, that was a game, they have not been able to really dominate. Does that worry you at all going into a game where they're double-digit favorites now against Florida Atlantic in the Montgomery Bowl a week from yesterday?
It doesn't, because of the word you used, and it's a word that I always use on middays, resiliency. This team has been resilient, not just this year, for a number of years. When you think, wow, they're down, they just lost to UCF, how do they pick themselves up, brush themselves off, and get back? They do it. They do it. Players to a player, they're resilient. Obviously, this team being able to do what they've done is resilient. This year, they got hit with lefts, rights, and uppercuts. You got Ryan Silverfield in his first full year. He loses right out of the gate Kenneth Gainwell. You lose DeMonte Coxey. And I'm not saying that he's the only one who's lost players. Please, don't spin this. But he certainly lost his share of talented players. And you have a new offensive coordinator in Kevin Johns, although he's been there. So there's a lot of different things.
And you're the hunted.
You're the hunted. You're coming off a year where you represented the group of 5 in the New Year's 6 playing in the Cotton Bowl. You lost a tough one to SMU that could have went the other way. Cincinnati blew you out, and Cincinnati's blown out everybody.
You get everybody's
really
best shot,
team.
Greg.
Yeah. The disappointing game, I think, was in New Orleans, but I said it on the show. I worried about that one. And they lost by 2 touchdowns. So then we go into the Houston game, and I'm thinking, I don't know about this. Because last week when I was on with you guys, we talked about, is that an advantage for Memphis having played, or is it an advantage for Houston having been rested? Well, it ends up being an advantage, it looked like, for Memphis for at least 3 quarters, as they dominated and had a 3-touchdown lead. Now, give Houston a lot of credit. to be able to come back the way they did in the fourth quarter. And it got scary down there. As you know, Wolo, on the call, we thought maybe for a second there, Dana, who has gone for two a lot of times in his career as a coach, was going to try for two and get that lead. And who knows what the outcome is. I don't know if they come down and Elliott kicks a field goal to win it. But we know that they went for the extra point. They tied the game. And then Brady let him down the field, and Jay kicked that dramatic field goal. But going into this bowl game, no, I feel good about it. I know Memphis has had a real bad streak in bowl games. For whatever the reason is, I don't know. But this is not going to be like your typical bowl game. It's not a week's worth of activities and this and that. It's basically a road game. So you're going to go, you're going to play Montgomery on a neutral field against a Florida Atlantic team. Then you're familiar, Willie Taggart from his days at USF, Jim Leavitt from his days at USF. So I think you know what you're getting into. I expect the Tigers to play well. I think the streak ends.
This is one of the least days off in between games the Tigers have had all year.
I think that's a great thing. That's why I don't like using bowls as barometers for seasons or coaches' records or anything of that, because usually it's 4 weeks, sometimes 6 weeks after the regular season game has ended. You're all out of your routine.
Robert Kimdiche tried to fly during a long stretch like that.
The other aspect, he sure did. He worked out okay. The other thing for him, for the Tigers in this streak since 14, they haven't won, is twice now they haven't had a coach. I mean,
that's true.
You lost Justin Fuente for one game. You lost Mike Norvell for the Cotton Bowl. And, heck, they played darn well in that Cotton Bowl.
Boy, it'd be a good trend for Ryan Silverfield. Year 1-0 in bowls, and head into the – we're not going to have spring. I mean, get ready for that.
Spring ball.
This is it till September.
Probably so.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a good chance.
Well,
there's
that's
absolutely
a smart chance. That is a smart chance.
Yeah,
I think. I think it's proven. We really had. I mean, it helps. It's great to have it if everybody's healthy. It's a way to see who's good, who's not good, for coaches to put stuff in. It was best described, I think, by Barrett Jones a few weeks ago, that this is really when you put your plays in the spring. But we just saw pretty quality football for the most part this year without that. And until we have a vaccine, why are you going to take your chance? Yeah. Those kids, by the time April comes, they're not going to have the priority list down to college athletes.
And everybody's had enough football.
Yeah, but here's the thing, guys, and I think you're absolutely right. Good thing for technology, because even though the players aren't there physically, if you don't have spring ball, you still have the meetings, you still have the Zoom meetings, you still go over the implementation of the game plan, or not the game plan, but the plays and what you're going to run for the following year. You could still get a lot done.
Yeah, a lot of instruction.
Right? I know there's a big difference between being on the field and not being on the field, but the instruction and the mental part of it to learn the system, especially for all the new guys, the guys that will be coming in, whether they be junior college transfers, regular transfers, or then the high school kids that will eventually be at the University of Memphis or whatever school it may be around the country. But I think what Wolo said last week was right on the mark about Memphis. They're playing in a bowl game that is before Christmas. They're not sitting around and waiting. So I think these guys are fired up, whether it's the end of their career or they're just finishing up the season, to end on a high note. They're not sitting around. They're waiting forever to play this game. They know the history of the bowls. They want to end on a high note. They played really well against Houston. They got the win in dramatic fashion. They want to beat this Florida Atlantic team and end with a bowl victory. There's no question.
I agree, and it'll be fun. I know you'll be on the sideline during the call. We look forward to hearing your insight from that very, very historic stadium built in the 20s. Babe Ruth played baseball in there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Maybe I'll find an old Babe Ruth ball laying around somewhere in the corner.
Find a baseball card
signed.
And if you can find a Hannes Wagner, we'll all retire.
3.7 mil, and you know that Greg's going to share that with all of us.
Sure.
That's for sure.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I share among friends?
That's what we love about
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it.
Take care, guys.
Happy holidays, Greg Gaston. Talking Tigers with Greg, brought to you by a whole bunch of folks that really appreciate him. It starts with our newest sponsor, Rule Smith from RE/MAX Realtor. Really nice to have him on board. Presto Shutters, the law offices of Stephen Leffler, Christ Community Church, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, and Southland Casino. This portion of the show is also brought to you by the sweetest thing in Memphis. That's Dinstall's. I love Dinstall's. I love every product they have. I am hopeful that by February, maybe we can go do a remote there. I don't know that that'll be the case. I don't know how far the vaccinations will go. But
Maybe
if
so.
it's possible, we'll be there. And there's Cashew Crunch. And, of course, their chocolate. And there's the Turtlettes. And there's the famous apples that they'll have. And, of course, the strawberries. Everything will be there for all of us. And right now, if you want to send something to somebody, and there's still time for Christmas, you want to send your corporate logo to somebody out of town, or you've got a relative that really misses a taste of Memphis, and there's nothing that says Memphis more, especially the sweet part of it, than Dinstall's. There's just nothing. And they'll take care of it for you. Call. Ask about any kind of corporate thing, 377-2639. Ask for Becky. 377-2639. Dinstall's for over 115 years. They've been making sweet memories, and they're still doing it right now. Go see all your folks at Dinstall's, either Pleasant View or Collierville or Germantown or Laurelwood. That is the way to go, I promise you. Back in just a minute. When we return, we'll chat a little bit more about the Tigers and FAU. That's next on Sports Time on Sports 56.
Get happy with Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
It's on Mid-South employee pricing for all during the Big Finish 2020. So get ready to save big with 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude 4-wheel drive. IIHS Top Safety Pick $22,990 or $296 a month. Or power up with 2020 Dodge Charger $24,890 or $299 a month. And we're talking Ram Tough in a 2020 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 4x2 $31,999 or $399 a month. It's time to get your ride on at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. 1901 Covington Pike or online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Almost finance through Chrysler Jeep Ram 3,500 cash down, Charger 4,500 cash down, 4.11 APR, Cherokee MD 15674, MSRP 28,050, Charger XST LH 248,348, MSRP 32,860, Ram LG 293,329, MSRP 37,855, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 12/31/20, dealer stock only.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
Celebrate 20 seasons of Grizzlies basketball in Memphis with a 2021 Grizzlies ticket package. Packages start at just $9 per game. And for a limited time, fans who place a $100 deposit will receive a free 20th season shirt. Visit Grizzlies.com today.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in as we cruise through our final hour. And I do think Memphis is going to play Florida Atlantic. I think they're going to beat Florida Atlantic in Montgomery on the 23rd, a week from yesterday. But I want to touch on what might happen after these early bowl games And we'll get into that in just a second.
Yeah, Dave, I'm with you, and I know where we're going with this. I really think the later you are in the bowl season, it might be a depreciating value on opt-outs and even safety. You're seeing what's coming out of the Aloha Bowl or Aloha Stadium today with that game, and in the future for the Hawaii Rainbows, you're seeing more and more about Los Angeles and the Rose Bowl. So it'll be fun to watch as these last days of 2020, good riddance, as we count them down. Q Guy Lombardo, Drew, we count down the last days of the year, and everyone at All-Star Chevrolet, they asked me to thank you so much for sticking with them through all these challenges this year. I was down there today. They really are appreciative of everybody hanging tough, and they have, and we'll soldier right on in 2021. And if you want an unreal deal to end this year on a new Chevy, Olive Branch is where you want to be. They were busy as all get out today. All-Star Chevrolet with year-end markdowns on everything. You pull up almost in any car, they'll mark it down. You spot any car, they'll mark it down. New Silverados, Traverse, Equinox. I'm in Equinox now. It rides so comfortably. Suburban, Tahoes, Camaros, Impalas. They have new 2020 and 2021 Silverados and Traverse with plenty of cash back. And when I say plenty of cash back, stacks of cash back. Drive a new Camaro or the new Impala. Make them an offer on any Chevy car, SUV, or truck you want. They'll take it. All posted on the website at allstarautogroup.com. The certified pre-owned Chevys are the best selection anywhere. Barely driven and fully warranted. Everyone at All-Star, one job. Make sure you have fun, get the best deal, and do it in record time. Remember, it's not Mount Moriah or South Haven, not the Pike, not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch for the end-of-the-year deal you will never forget, and with great people that will always remember your loyalty. Or go to allstarautogroup.com. Happy New Year from all your friends at All-Star Chevrolet.
I do want to remind everybody, with all the holidays, even though there's not all the great parties, there'll be some small gatherings. You got to look good, right? You got to get a haircut. I know some of you are starting to wonder with all the surge, should we do that? Let me tell you, my guys at Supercuts, all 15 of the locations that are run by the Czech family, that's all 15 in Memphis, by the way. They came here 30 years ago, built the first. Now they got 15 of them. They have taken every step to be sure, clean, sanitized, and there is safe spacing within every one of the shops. They've got that safe salon commitment in place. That was developed in partnership with the top infectious disease doctors, and they've done that. They have maximized safety and sanitization in every one of the Supercut salons across the country, but in particular, I know Rob Check. He's made sure that has occurred in Memphis. You want to learn more about that safe salon commitment and you want to get ready for your next visit, just go to supercuts.com. So yesterday it was Kate State. They opted out of their bowl. It's a good thing the AutoZone Liberty Bowl didn't get a commitment from them.
Had them last year.
Because they would really be searching now.
And we talked about it with Steve yesterday, Dave. It really narrows the Big 12 pool.
It does. And then there's UCLA. They today opted out. Here's what I'm afraid of, and I'm a little fearful, and I know nothing is set in concrete, and so I'm not saying there's not going to be an AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Please don't think that, but I worry for any bowl that is scheduled post Christmas, because you've got schools that have been off and on basically since last
and
August.
That used to be the prime real estate for bowls. 28th, 29th, 30th, building that big crescendo. Yeah. This year, it's almost like I was just talking about with the clock ticking.
Well, this year's different because everybody.
Well, you can say that again.
The general school population, college football players, contemporaries, they have been gone since the week of Thanksgiving. They're not coming back till almost February.
Ghost towns.
Nobody there. And you're saying to a kid, well, you stay with us. If you're going to the Birmingham Bowl on January the 2nd, or that might be January 1st, you're saying you're not getting to go home at all. So no Christmas with your family, because if you leave, you have to come back and quarantine for 10 days. You're not in the game.
Yeah, and if you even maybe more threatening, if you do sneak away and you come back and you infect everybody.
bottom line,
a few somebody.
I think schools are going to go. Our guys don't want to play. They want to go home. They want to go home for Christmas. They want to be with their families. We're going to opt out. I am worried about every bowl that is right at Christmas time or
now
after.
one good thing, if you could get with your youngsters and convince them of this, Dave, is I know like at Ole Miss, Drew, when does second session when does spring semester at the University of Memphis traditionally start?
Somewhere around the January 20th.
Yeah, middle of January. And yeah,
I think most places are delaying that even a little this year.
Oh yeah, they're going almost to February.
Okay. So you could go to them and go, all right, guys, we've asked a lot of you since June 1. Give me 4 more weeks. And then you can go home and stay till 10th of February.
But you've got to still stay whatever the class schedules are giving you, unless you're just doing it virtually. And that could be the case where most of these are virtual anyway. I'm really not certain. I think the immediate call is this. Kids are lonely, and they want to be with their families, and they cannot be with their families during Christmas if they want to play in a bowl game because of quarantine and protocol.
I had a person tell me they're tired of the protocol and the testing and the rigors that have gone with it. Just the separation. I mean, there's no training table. There's no you and the fellas and the team all in there together. You're together really only on game day.
Well, you have meeting rooms, so you're with your position group, are you not?
Well, you are, but that's that's a guy over here and one over here, and it's been odd. It's a lot. Remember, a lot of these places got back in June, July for sure with the workouts when they could. This has been.
I think they're practicing though. So I think if you're in the bubble, you're with your teammates. You're practicing.
Not old school though.
Well, maybe not total old school, but
because they're trying to keep quarterback groups away from each other. So if the whole room doesn't get it,
well, I think they missed their folks, and that's why for me the Montgomery Bowl was the perfect bowl because of the date. The 23rd, and these kids now will get to go home for Christmas Eve and be there Christmas morning, and you couldn't ask for anything better than that.
Dave, I called it a while ago. Wasn't stunned at all. Called it the historic Sun Bowl. That may not ring some people's chimes, but it does mine. It's one of the oldest bowls.
Yeah,
they're not having it.
I think it's the 5th oldest bowl.
If or when we get up to 29th, 30th, 31st, and something we can't imagine gets canceled. A Gator Bowl. The bowl game at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, the Outback Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
If or when.
I will tell you this. In my mind, the only bowls for sure are the 2 semifinals and the championship game because there's too much money at stake there, and those schools are definitely going to play those games.
I mean,
that's the only
we're
ones I
scared
know
here
for sure.
for our beloved AutoZone Liberty Bowl, but Music City Bowl, the bowl game in Charlotte that's been renamed this year, all that's up
that
for
used
grabs.
To be the Belk Bowl, right?
Yeah, I think it's the Duke Mayo Bowl now. Let's get the logo right, Dave.
Yeah. I know this for a fact. We have been taken to task for not mentioning that sponsorship.
Yeah, but that's for our hometown bowl
Yeah.
that we love, and you know, this isn't. We're not trying to be out there with speculation, but I don't think we're breaking any untilled soil here with people that a lot of things can get canceled at the last second. You can make all the plans you want about what you're going to schedule. I love seeing that Major League Baseball. Nobody's canceling spring training. Yeah, sure.
They got a labor issue already out there
about
when
issues.
you're going to start. So that's crazy. But who would have thought seriously that a school like Kansas State would be going, we're not going to play in a bowl game this year? Or, for that matter, UCLA.
Australian Open kicked back to a February start instead of their normal right after the New Year starts.
Right. So they're delaying it a month. Well,
they're buying time.
Yeah, it's exactly what they're buying because you know what? It's not that they have a problem in Australia. They don't have a problem in Australia and New Zealand. The problem is they don't want the rest of the world coming
to bring
there
it and start
until
one.
those guys catch up with getting better or have the vaccine.
Yeah, they want some shots.
Yeah, they don't want people coming to the island. And can you blame them?
Dave, what would from day one, from Rudy Gobert that night, and we're texting, and I'm telling you to turn around and come home from Fort Worth. Well, this is almost impossible. But what's been the biggest surprise to you about the virus? I think, let me give you mine. And Drew, I think I told you one night leaving here, I said, it'll be okay. I said, we might have some might be fraught with peril, until it gets warm. But when it gets June and July in Memphis, it'll burn it out, and it'll eventually burn out. But then one day I noticed of the cases in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
And it's hot there year round. If it's not burning it out there, how's it going to burn it out in Memphis?
It was in the middle of the winter in South America, and they were having the biggest spikes. And that's when I realized that the heat was not going to be a major
did
factor.
nothing.
I think, one of the things for me is just the numbness of it all. And how every day we're thinking, this really can't be happening. All this is occurring. We're really shutting this down. We really can't go into that restaurant. And all we could do was accept it. And it took a mental toll. And it's almost a numbness of acceptance because it's really beyond our control. And all we could do was, I used to say this all the time, go Pfizer, go Moderna, go Johnson & Johnson, because that's all we could really do. Thank goodness that these bright minds, and I will give the Trump administration the one thing, the one big credit that they deserve is warp speed, because they have done it. For us to get that vaccine approved by the FDA this quickly and to get it distributed already around the world, that's miraculous. And hopefully sometime by this summer everybody gets inoculated, at least enough that are taking it, that we get to that 70% that take it, so that gets you what is being called herd immunity. I'm certainly not understanding of the concept, but that's what I am told that science says.
First day of the Memphis Golf Tournament of the WGC FESJI, Thursday, August 5th. Full crowds?
August.
Thursday, August 5th.
Well, that's very close.
Will it be like the old days?
No, I'm going to say 50-50. 50% of what it normally was. But a whole lot better than the nobody that was allowed to go last
50
year.
50 beats 0.
Yeah. Now, next September, college football games.
Just a month later.
A month later, but that month is critical to getting everybody vaccinated. And all the priority lists going down, and the athletes then would be able to get it. I think then you'll see full stadiums. That's when normalcy will come, middle of next September.
Hope you're right.
I hope so, too. I can't assure you of that. That's just my gut feel. And, that is with distribution to everybody on time, no snags. Like, who would have thought?
No surprises.
Yesterday, the first real
no mutations.
Big day of transporting the vaccine to the Northeast, where it's in more bulk, right? It's not just the initial. Now we're starting to get more. And they have the worst snowstorm in 2 years.
Can't make it up, can you?
How do you figure that stuff out?
Yeah.
How do you figure that stuff out? This portion of the show is brought to you by the good folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Homer Skelton Genesis. That's Genesis of Olive Branch, where we are still awaiting more of the new SUVs, the longest awaited new technology that is taking the world by storm. It is that SUV from Genesis called the GV80. They had some and they sold out. That's how good this car is, really. Some people have written it up in publications in the auto industry, and they liken it to a $300,000 luxury car. This one, depending on the package that you would order from Genesis of Olive Branch, is $50,000 to $70,000. This is an unbelievable new piece of technology. What a ride that I think will last forever. All these cars last forever. They really do. That's why when you talk about the Hyundais, Homer Skelton Hyundai Ray Melton's department has been the number one selling certified pre-owned car dealer in Memphis for the last 13 years. It's because it's the product. You got to have a Hyundai to be certified by Homer. And they are now taking such good care of these cars, and the initial technology is so good they last forever. That's why every new car gets a 100,000 limited powertrain warranty, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. That's incredible. Think about it. And now also, because of raise the bar, this is the way car business should be done, they will give you a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package for free. They want to take care of the car for you. And when I talk about service, now they're even going to bring to you the new Genesis cars, the G70, a G80, G90, the new SUV. They'll deliver it to your door just for a test drive, and then you can buy it. All right, it's just amazing what they are doing. Go see Chris Drew and all the gang. See for yourself what I'm talking about. Just get on Lamar into Mississippi, Craft Road. That's exit 1. Turn left. You'll be there at the place that is now the benchmark for the way car business should be done. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We take a quick timeout. When we come back, it will be crunch time.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
It's on Mid-South employee pricing for all during the Big Finish 2020. So get ready to save big with 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude 4-wheel drive. IIHS Top Safety Pick $22,990 or $296 a month. Or power up with 2020 Dodge Charger $24,890 or $299 a month. And we're talking Ram Tough in a 2020 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 4x2 $31,999 or $399 a month. It's time to get your ride on at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. 1901 Covington Pike or online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Almost finance through Chrysler Jeep Ram 3,500 cash down, Charger 4,500 cash down, 4.11 APR, Cherokee MD 15674, MSRP 28,050, Charger XST LH 248,348, MSRP 32,860, Ram LG 293,329, MSRP 37,855, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 12/31/20. Dealer stock only.
All season long, FanDuel is bringing exclusive offers for the best games on the weekly slate. This week, here is something you won't want to miss. New users can bet $5 to win $75 on Justin Herbert to throw one or more touchdowns against the Raiders tonight. You heard that right. You can bet $5 to win $75 plus $1,500 on Justin Herbert to throw one or more touchdowns. And with FanDuel Sportsbook, incredible odds promotions are just the beginning. They've got a simple app, live betting on every game, and exhilarating bet types such as same-game parlays, where you combine multiple bets from one game into a single parlay. And once you win on FanDuel Sportsbook, they get you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and use promo code GASMAN to make your first deposit to claim your exclusive odds boost. That's promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, sports fans, this is the Ultimate Vegas Insider, John Anthony, and I'm on fire. To prove it, I'm releasing your Thursday night report absolutely free on a recorded message line. Call 1-800-814-9317. I love tonight's matchup. Los Angeles, Las Vegas is a monster. Side and total. Critical information confirmed tonight, plus college hoops. 5 big plays. John Anthony has you covered. I love to go 5-0, and it's absolutely free. Recorded message, 1-800-814-9317. Information wins. John Anthony Sports, #1 against the spread. Los Angeles, Las Vegas is huge. 1-800-814-9317. You want information? I've got it. I love to go 5-0 the season free. Call the recorded message line, 1-800-814-9317. 5 big plays. John Anthony has you covered. 1-800-814-9317. Or go to VegasScoresAndOdds.com.
Sponsored by JFSR Group.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Final portion of the program brought to you by Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. When's the last time you had your heating system cleaned? How about a safety inspection Right now, Conway's giving you that 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on that heating system. It's only $69, but there's a whole lot more. They do that 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on the system inside. But now they're going to include a complete safety inspection using their state-of-the-art camera system, making sure, well, everything is operating perfectly. And then they will do, and I love this part of it the best, a carbon monoxide test. And they're doing that all for just $69. And if that's not enough, as your smart home provider, they're now going to include a free Nest Hub with the paid tune-up while supplies last. So you're getting the tune-up, you're getting the inspection with the camera, you're getting the carbon monoxide test, and now you're getting a free Nest Hub. All you got to do, and you better do it quickly, is make the call. 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. It's now officially Taco Bell crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello,
Boop! Get you!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
On one, on two, on three. Hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
Dave, I learned today that they're in analysis of the Tiger schedule remaining 19 games, all conference. There's not a single gimme left on the Tiger schedule. Yeah, they'll win a lot of games, and there will be some easy ones in there, but right now, just a slam dunk W, there aren't many. I still think 14, 15 wins in conference, about the minimum to be inside that 68-team NCAA tournament field come March.
I think they got to win 15. I agree with you. I got a bunch of little quickies. According to folks in the Grizzlies, Brandon Clark cleared to play tonight. Grayson Allen back in the starting lineup. How about this? The NFL is talking about the Super Bowl rewarding first responders from all over the country. If they are vaccinated, as a reward, they will be allowed to come to the Super Bowl game in Tampa for free. I love that. I really do.
I do too.
And we were told today Russia will not be able to use its name, flag, or anthem for the next 2 Olympics. That is really for the summer in Tokyo, the winter in Beijing. They were originally going to get a ban of 4 years. They cut it in half.
Are we having the Tokyo games?
I don't know.
Make the call.
Yay
or nay? Drew says yay.
We will have the games in some form. They will not be full games. How's that?
That's it. When we may not have full games until 2028 in Los Angeles. Could have done without 24% three-point shooting for Tulane last night. If they make one more, it is really nerve-wracking down the stretch. But the big percentage last night, that Tiger free throw percentage again, pathetic. That can be worked on. You can do that with a coach watching or not, but you got to do it the right way, and it's got to be repeatable.
What's worse, that or having 27 layup attempts? That's shots within 3 feet. 27 layup attempts and making only 11. That means you missed 16.
Even against St. Mary's opening afternoon for DJ Jeffries, there's been a lid on that bucket all year for the Tigers. It's been snake bitten.
And Dandridge, who didn't play, to me, that's the most troubling. Well, look, the free throws are very troubling too, 50%. But
I still see a talented team, though.
All those layups? How do you miss all those layups?
I still think there's some good to greatness in that team.
Well, I think they're going to get to those 15 conference wins. I still think that will happen. I could have done without. I guess I don't really care, but I don't understand it. Oregon giving head football coach Mario Cristobal a 6-year, $27 million deal. Really, it's $32 million, because if he gets either 9 wins or a Pac-12 North title, that's their division, within any of those years, he gets a $5 million bonus.
Does he want enough for that kind of dough?
I guess they were worried that he would go to Auburn. Now he's not going there. You know what his record is at Oregon? 24-9. He's under 500 if you go back to Florida International.
But he's gotten it right at Oregon, I guess.
I guess. Well, they think so.
He's had some
That's
pretty
a lot
good
of
talent.
cash right there, baby.
Keeping a close eye tonight on that old AFL game, Raiders and Chargers in Vegas. Will the Raiders make the playoffs?
Which you can watch, listen right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1. We will be carrying that game. Yes, I think the Raiders can.
They'll have to squeeze in that 7 spot, if anything.
They have to win.
They can't lose
starting tonight.
They can't lose tonight. College basketball, a good one from the Big 12. Yeah, conference game. KU at Texas Tech. Bill Self against Chris Beard. Bill Self, national champion coach. We know that all so well. Chris Beard, a Final Four coach. Final Four coach the last time we had a Final Four. Creighton at St. John's in a Big East game. Still hard to comprehend. Creighton, from somewhere out there in middle America, Omaha, the Counting Crows song. They're in the Big East.
I know. You know, it really doesn't feel right. They should be either in the American Athletic Conference or in the or in the Missouri Valley.
They should be in the Mountain West before they should be in the Big East.
How about St. Louis being in the Atlantic 10?
In the A10.
They shouldn't be there. They should be in the Valley, or
they should be in the Valley and hosting Arch Madness.
Yeah, I agree. Crazy. I don't understand that. Anything else you're watching tonight? You're going to watch the Grizzlies and the Atlanta Hawks, aren't you?
Yeah, I will. I'll keep eye on the Grizz.
I will definitely do that. That is for certain. I look forward to seeing him. And, you know, I don't know why we hadn't seen Brandon Clark. And we should, as a program note, we should point out that starting in the next couple of weeks, in fact, January 8th, really.
We're ready.
Our friend Andy Schiffman will be back joining us. It was nice to have Keith Smith for sure. In fact, we want to thank Bill Bender from the Sporting News. Go read his predictions at sportingnews.com on all 32 of the bowl games. Keith Smith from Yahoo Sports. Russell Copeland on the National Football League. It was always fun chatting with our friend Greg Gaston from Midday. So, my friend will be traveling tomorrow to Baton Rouge. Good luck to you on that, Brett Norsworthy. We will be here, Drew and myself. Bruce Marshall will join us, Jason Munns. We've got a new sponsor, Grind City Brewery. The master brewer is Hopper Seeley. He will be joining us at about 4:30. Then tomorrow, 5 o'clock on Memphis' signing day, Ole Miss's, Mississippi State, the national scene, Brooks Hansen from 24/7 will talk recruiting. And, of course, we got our first National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast. That'll do it for us. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone.
Swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops this holiday season for the hottest gifts from Titleist. Featuring the Titleist TSI metals with an all-new aerospace titanium-based construction that's never been used before in golf. This new engineering pushes the boundaries of speed. TSI is faster in air and faster at impact to give you the longest, straightest, best-looking, best-sounding Titleist metals ever. Come into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, your holiday headquarters since 1968, and shop online at worldwidegolfshops.com.